We're going for speed. All right, dude. We are live here on the Drag-N-Drive Show. Guys, I want to apologize. I may be a little choppy tonight, but hopefully my audio is good. It is torrentially downpouring here in Northwest Arkansas. And that may mean we get a little bit of spike in and out for my internet service. So hopefully everybody else's does well. We've got, obviously, my name is Mike Narks. I run dragondrive.com. And we are getting ready for Sick Week and a year of absolutely insane Drag-N Drives. There are more Drag-N Drives this year than maybe have been ever combined. I don't know. I'm going to have to do that math. It's pretty wild. So far, we are up to 23 events in 2023. So that's pretty wild. Eric, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell them what you got going on this week.
All right, I am Eric White. You can find me 815 LSX Swaps, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and also newly created Motorsports Paparazzi. That's the media page, also on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.
Awesome.
So some sad news here locally. So anybody from my 815 channel, the news went out today that our local short track, Rockford Speedway, has been sold to land developers after 76 years. So pretty bummed about that.
That is brutal. That's really sad. And even though we like to go straight, anytime somebody takes away a race car situation, that's a bad deal, especially, tracks that have been around that long. I mean, there's a lot of people that are probably third generation racers at that, that go to that track all the time. So,
yeah. And I was going like less than a year old. My parents were taking me there. So I've been going for quite a while.
Yeah, dude, that's brutal. Well, hopefully that the people will take the money from that sale and move out another 10, 15 miles and build another nicer facility. I think that's what everybody hopes. Well, guys, this week on the show, we have some changes. If you have been watching it for the last week, we had Brian Lohnes and Derek Putnam on. We actually have completely changed it up. We still have Derek on. We have the guys from boltsandnuts.com. Redhat Scotty is here in the back. Now, he's here because he went to the Racer Roundup in Kansas City for the hopeful reopening of Kansas City International Raceway, or whatever the new track name is going to be. So he has a full page of notes. We're going to talk about that. And then Adam Dorey is coming on because if you haven't seen the I'll let him talk about it. Adam Dorey will be at Sick Week. I don't know what his position will be down there, but I figure if you have an announcer in Florida and Brian Lohnes is not going to be able to be on track, you're probably going to give the microphone to Adam as well. So that should be some fun. The coolest thing about Adam and Redhat Scotty being on are that we have all done Race Week and those guys have done Rocky Mountain. So it's going to be really a cool deal. I think we're going to have some fun. We have a jam-packed first hour, and then we are going to kind of level off and relax a little bit before the pandemonium begins with next week. So, dude, let's run through. Do we want to talk about my time on the West Buck show today?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're pretty much a celebrity now, aren't you?
I'm signing autographs and I'm sending them out as we speak. Trying to get those out there before they are worth money. That way, it's like an investment for people,
Yeah,
it was pretty neat.
How was it?
It was pretty cool. It was, I didn't get nearly I really wanted to dig deep into some stats and stuff, but we were trying to keep it pretty top level and get people excited for the event and stuff like that. So I can appreciate that. And I would probably have nerded out on some folks, and just you guys are the ones that care about that stuff. So I appreciate that very much. It was really cool. I think it will really help the channel grow. I think getting in front of more people with obviously Drag-N-Drive addiction, but then as well as the Drag-N-Drive community. I think, you have a channel that their Facebook has almost 500,000 likes and followers. You start looking at that stuff, like me being on there and somebody seeing Drag-N-Drive makes a world of difference when they go to look for events to do. So with having 23 events in 2023 so far, I think we're going to, hopefully we see a lot more new entries into the community. There's, I know everybody that attends these events typically, and I'll get this number for the week after Sick Week, but I want to know how many people have just done one ever, because I think a lot of folks do one to start and then it's gangbuster from there. I mean, Redhat Scotty is a great example that he's done 9 or 10 of these things and does every one he can get to. You know, he did 3 last year, 2 national events and 1 regional, and then is doing our event or 2 regional events, 1 national, something like that. No, 2. Anyways, we'll talk about it later. 4 events he did last year, 2 regional weekend events and 2 national events, and has plans to do a lot more this year. So it's going to be interesting to see how many. Can we have somebody do 8 events this year? You know, is that going to be the number? You know, we had Cameron Thorpe on a couple of weeks ago that did 4 national events, and we've got some plans to have some other folks on that have done 3 or 4 just total events as we go around. I see Dirty Panda here with the hashtag race car friends. Oh, I'll let you hit the button. There you go. Race car friends, guys, this is what we used to tag and talk to all of our friends. So if you are searching on Instagram or on Facebook, that is always a great way to find us within the community. And if you haven't done it yet, let's jump into it. Just subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button on your way in. We got a lot of folks in here already. We are live across 8 channels.
Yep.
Every YouTube and Facebook channel we have, we're live across. So let's get to it. Let's bring on our first guest. Bolts and nuts.com. Dude, they're laughing in the background now. I feel bad. That's the first question we have for them. So guys, listen, introduce yourself and then we'll talk about how many times that gets messed up.
Okay. I was gonna say it's definitely not the first time. First off, I'd like to thank you guys for having us. I'm Andy Graham with boltsandnuts.com. I'm one of the owners here.
I'm Jimmy Montaigne. I'm just here for the ride.
Yeah, Jimmy, he doesn't work here. He's not an employee or anything. He's just a good friend of mine and made the connection to us here.
Yeah. Jimmy is the reason you're on tonight. He had
is,
made a post
absolutely.
in one of the Facebook groups, and I saw that and was instantly like, tell me more. And we're going to talk about kind of some of the stuff that you got going on and how that can help the Drag-N-Drive community. But how many times do people call and ask for nuts and bolts?
Nuts, like the opposite?
Yeah, opposite.
Quite a bit, yeah. But, you know, I always like to think, like, because we're backwards, they hopefully remember us. You know, it's the one that's backwards. You know?
That's right.
So we've been around for a long time. We've been doing this since 2013, this business here. And, nutsandbolts.com was taken. They're actually, I would say, a competitor or friendly competitor, whatnot. So
they're not nearly as cool. Yeah, they're not on the Drag-N-Drive show. So
right, yeah,
that's awesome. Well, talk to us a little bit about the business. Kind of like, what is it? What do you do?
Sure. Boltsandnuts.com. We're a family-owned full-line fastener distributor. We're located in Perry, Ohio, which is about 30 miles east of Cleveland. So we're northeastern Ohio. We stock over 16,000 different fasteners. We operate out of a 30,000 square foot facility. It's just our headquarters here. Being e-commerce, we ship all over the world. I'm sorry, not world, just in the States here for now, but we are planning on opening it up. But we're a reputable supplier to many different industries, racing, solar, wind, all over the place. So we service a lot of different industries. We could supply anything from a single piece to full truckloads of fasteners. We sell it all from our website.
That's pretty cool. So I think kind of the conversation started from Jimmy's post was about like kits and things like that you guys can put together. And that was actually what the post was like, hey, if we were going to put together a Drag-N-Drive kit, what's in it? What do we need? What goes into that? So talk to us a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to grab one here. So we stock fastener assortments is a big part of our business here. We sell a lot of fastener assortments. We sell all over. We sell on eBay, Amazon, and these here are top sellers. And what this is a grab and go kit. The front of it locks here. So you could throw it in the back seat of your car, the trunk, wherever, throw it in your trailer when you're trailering around, and then they open up, and then there's compartment slots in there. And so far what we've came up with, and looking at the comments from the post that Jimmy here made, a few things. We're still working on it, first of all. This is something we're still in the process. We're still talking with you guys and talking to other people in the industry to finalize it. But what I've determined is I want to actually make 2 kits. I saw a lot of people talking about, oh, I need metric, oh, I need inch.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to create 2 separate kits, an inch, because, you know, you can have both, you can have one or the other, however you want to do it. So we want to do 2 kits, obviously grade 8, 10.9. We don't want to do low strength stuff, especially when you're going to be at the track. So what we're going to do is design most of the slots to have either that 10.9 or grade 8, bolts, nuts, washers. And then we are talking about self-tappers, just something to screw in there. And then
I knew you were Drag-N-Drive guys.
They're all self-tappers.
All self-tappers. And obviously zip ties. You can't forget the zip ties. That's going to be the main thing holding most of what's together at the track if it's an accident. But or something breaking. But that, and then I was going to talk to you guys. What do you guys think about rivet nuts or blind rivets?
See, I love rivet nuts, man. That we put all of our mounts and things for what my brother does in the shop is rivet nutted in, because it just is so nice to not have to try and put your hand in behind a fender to hold it and then put this bolt in while you're holding the bracket for the ECU down.
Right.
Yeah.
Rivet nuts are always a big thing for me.
They're awesome. They save so much time, and it's nice to be able to just go in on one side. You don't have to worry about getting on the back end. Just a total time saver, especially if you're in a pinch, you know?
Yeah. And definitely the folks in the comments in the chat, tell these guys what you would like to have. If there's any specific, you know, if you're digging around, we do a lot of LS stuff. So all of our stuff is, you know, LS based, you know, so all the extra bolts and things like that would be that. And then zip ties, I think that's probably always a must. But, you know, there's a lot that goes into a zip tie too. It's not just go to Harbor Freight and buy the biggest bag of zip ties. You know, there's quality zip ties are probably a big thing too.
Exactly right. Yeah, we sell just that. We sell quality. They're actually the black. They're UV resistant, so you don't have to worry about it cracking, you know, cold, you know, all the different weather and environment types. So
I saw the one Facebook user asking if you guys deal in titanium.
So that actually comes up a lot. We do not, but we can source it for you. Cool. We work with a supplier that can supply it, but the problem with that, the pricing fluctuates so much, and we priced out making a kit just like this, and it was over $1,000 at current pricing. So yeah, we found it was best because people generally know what they need. Hey, I'm replacing this, and that. So we can, if you give us the sizes you need, we can certainly source it. We do not have it on our website. But we can source it.
Wow. That's pretty crazy. Yeah. I can't imagine. Yeah. Give me a bolt kit that's $1,000.
It's like jewelry.
Yeah. That's right.
Another question here. Do you guys do any wiring connectors?
We do not. That is something we're going to be adding very soon. You know, and actually we do work with a source. I think that would be important to put into this kit. Generally, when I think of the bolt kits, we supply mainly the bolts. You know, this is going to be like, we're not going to have spark plugs in here. Just, you know, that would be something you bring on your own. This is for the fastener side, but you know, electrical connectors, that goes hand in hand. They're technically a fastener. So we'll have to get some of those in here.
Yeah. Leave a few spots blank so these guys can throw in their last few things.
Yeah, we actually have 24 slots in here, so we can fill it up, and we have a bunch of different variations. And as we design this further on, we'll send you pictures, and you can share them and see what people think. You know. Yeah,
for sure. And I think doing both metric and standard is a great. Yeah, it's a great way. Yeah.
I just don't think you can fit them all into one, and you know, like not everybody uses both. So
yeah, and I'm just going to impact that thing on. If it's wrong, it's doesn't need Loctite this time. You know, listen, we got to get to the next track. That's the
cross threads are better than no threads.
Hey, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. So Eric was doing. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I'm going to point one other thing with all of our kits. So what's really cool about us, and as you can see the fastener bins in the background, we do things a little bit differently. Anybody can sell you a bolt kit. There's guys that sell them all day long, but they don't restock them. So what we do is every single kit that we sell comes with this little QR code. And when you scan this, it brings you to a list of all these items. You can add anything from 1 piece to 500 pieces. You add it all from the same page. It makes restocking these kits super easy. So,
Oh, nice.
and
cool.
all of our bolt bin kits, they all come with QR coded labels. Every single label is QR coded. So if you do run out of stock, you scan that, add it to your cart, go to the next one, check out. We ship 2 to 3 days anywhere in the country.
Dude, that's
Awesome.
what's up.
We're,
Yeah. I
we
didn't
do
even
it a
think
little
about
differently.
I didn't think about the bolt bin being so important. You know, I always think what can I grab to take on the road, you know?
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, you got to have the bolt bin. And I don't know if you came to my shop right now, you would hate me because you'd be like, oh my God, what is this bucket of bolts here? You don't.
Sure.
Yes.
Trigger my OCD. I'll have to start sorting them.
Oh,
Yeah, I can't
for sure.
tell you how many times I've gone to the parts store and just grabbed the little pack of 10 and it gets thrown into a box, and then I do the same thing and there's just tons of random bolts in my garage.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, so we're big into organized fasteners. Yeah, we do sell the fasteners, but we love selling fastener kits too. These things are just so helpful. You know, not everybody is near an Ace or a Home Depot, and you know, you are out on the road. You know, you can't always run somewhere, and you know, so that's what's great about these kits. They're very versatile.
Well, and they stack well. That's one of the biggest things. They
Stack
just
well, yeah.
stack easy. They're nice and lockable. So
And actually, we sell a slider too that these kits would fit in as well. And you know, those come in 2, 4, and 6, and they could be stacked. There's a floor stand, and we sell all the fastener storage as well.
yeah. Well, listen, now there's no rhyme or reason to a trailer, for a drag and drive trailer. So anytime you can kind of gather some stuff together, that's always a big plus.
Right. Well, he's got a funny story actually.
Yeah, last year we actually broke a shock bolt off of my buddy's Duster and ended up using the lug nut off of the trailer to fix it. It's like, well, hey, we should have put that in the bolt bin. So maybe we'll do that before we leave for sick week on Friday.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's interesting. We had some guys come up and they lost the nut off their coilover in the back, and all we had was a pair of vice grips. We couldn't steal anything that was close, so they just vice gripped that thing closed, and it stayed all weekend.
That's a semi-permanent fix.
Yeah. I mean, hey, they didn't die. That's the plus.
Yeah, right. If it works, it works, man. I mean, that's funny. Yeah.
Jay Blanchard here, owner of J-Wire Solutions, says, do you wholesale to businesses? He's interested.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
We offer piece package in bulk. You know, if you contact us, you could DM us, email us, call us tomorrow. We'll definitely help you out. Yes, we supply businesses all over. Lots of businesses.
Yep. All right. I'll introduce you guys directly after this tonight.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you.
Yep. And then, hey, Jimmy, can't wait to do Sick Week with you again this year. Love this idea. Chuck Stefanski.
So Chuck's a pretty cool cat.
Yeah. Right. And then this
Chuck will be driving his wife's car this year at Sick Week.
Oh, nice.
She let him take it out of the garage.
Well, sometimes he probably had to do that one special thing that she likes. Dishes. It's in my house. That's what it is in my house, is dishes. Why don't they do events over a weekend or draw a bigger crowd? Oh, Scott Mouse probably talking about all of the Drag-N-Drive events. And I would think it's probably because of the ease of renting a track throughout the week. And then also the logistics of that, it gives time for people to get home and all that kind of stuff. So anyways, that was just an extra one.
Here's a good one too. Do you guys make some sort of mount for a wall in a trailer to hold that bin?
Yes, we do. Yep. So they're not on the website yet, but we're currently adding a bunch of storage. We work with one of the biggest manufacturers here in the States. So if you reach out to us, certainly, yeah. And actually, these cabinets here, this slider I have behind me, this could be mounted on, and then there's also a lock that goes over the front. That way, when you're cornering, your kits aren't flying all over the place.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah, we can offer vehicle storage solutions. Absolutely.
That's cool. Yeah. And then I bet half my car is bolts and nuts. Can't beat OE style flange bolts.
Is it? Okay, yeah. So we actually own another website. I started this company with my sister and my father, and we actually started with flangebolts.com. That was our first website. I'm 5th generation fastener. So my family's been doing this for a long time, all separate companies. This company was started in 2013, I think I said earlier.
So what's your Thanksgiving like Is it just all 10mm bolt conversation?
It's screwy, I can tell you that. We're all a little nuts, definitely.
That's awesome.
It's interesting. Like I go home, I work, I'm here, I'm working. I played with nuts and bolts growing up. Like it's my life. I do graphic design, marketing, and fasteners. It's that, and I have 2 little boys at home. Those are my hobbies.
That's awesome. Well, Eric had said you guys were at PRI.
Yep.
Is that right?
Absolutely.
You'll tell us a little bit about the experience there?
Oh, it was fantastic. So PRI, we went for the first time 2 years ago. And just a quick little story. We went 2 years ago. It was our first trade show ever. We're a newer growing company with the internet. And I wasn't sure if people had heard of us because we sell on Amazon and a few people heard of us. Well, we ended up actually linking up with YouTuber Cletus McFarlane. Actually,
never
Jeff
heard of her.
His right-hand man at the PRI 2 years ago. And throughout that whole year, a lot of things had happened. There was a lot of opportunities. We work with a lot of major YouTubers now. So this year at PRI, it went really well for us. We basically had lines the entire time, and we have realized that we need to get a bigger booth with some cars in it. So that's going to be our focus next year. We want to get a car put in our booth.
Yeah, there you go. Let's talk about your own current, like your personal project cars. You guys have any of those?
I actually race motorcycles, which are not Drag-N-Drive friendly unless you do the Rocky Mountain one.
Yeah.
So I actually go with like 3 guys from a company called Big 3 Racing. So we take a 72 Duster, 98 Trans Am, and a 82 Fox body with a Gen 2 Hemi in it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so we did 2 of the drag weeks, and then we did Sick Week last year, and we're leaving for Sick Week on Friday to do it again.
Yeah, dude.
Nice.
And all 3 going?
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah. What kind of motorcycle do you have?
It's like the Suzuki GS's, the older stuff from the 80s that kind of going out of style, and the newer like as well.
Yeah, like inline 4 carb setup.
Yep.
Deal.
Yeah. A little bit of nitrous and let it eat.
Because he's crazy, man. He really is. I've seen him do some crazy things on that bike.
Nice. Yeah. I love that style of bike. I think that's what I'm going to end up building one day. It won't be a drag bike. It'll be more of a cafe racer, low bars, late model suspension kind of bike. I'm used to ride motorcycles all the time. 2 kids later, and I don't ride anymore at all. So
right.
Yeah. And then Andy, you got a car?
Yeah, so I do. I just do local grudge racing. To be honest, most of my time is spent here. Last year I did buy a car. I have a 2022. It's a Camaro 2SS 1LE. It's the track package, non-ZL1. It's rapid blue, so it's that C8, the new C8 blue color. It's absolutely beautiful. And they're gonna stop making them. This is the last year, so. It's a pretty rare color. It's a pretty cool car. I haven't taken on the track yet, but I plan to do it this year. Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's I've had that conversation with a few of my buddies because, being the last year for that setup, I think it's funny. We're in like a weird time with cars because when they stopped making the Camaro 02, it was like, okay, good riddance. Like I'm 40, so it was a big deal for us, but we didn't think, hey, I need to be buying these specialty cars and kind of keeping the miles low. But, guys now are like, hey, we've seen what Barrett Jackson does in 10, 15, 20 years when you have a low mileage, late model, one of the last years, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, totally. And, with how busy I am, I don't really get to drive it that much. So this might be a rare case like that. To be honest, I got it in March last year. I only put 190 miles on it. Just didn't have time. I know. Don't hit me. That's pretty terrible. Yeah, don't hit me. So listen, Jimmy, take care of this. I know. He's going to hit me for that. So, like I said, I plan to drive it this year. Just kind of a crazy year with all the growth and everything this company's seen. So. Well, and burnouts with your kids always a good idea. Right. They'll enjoy that. You said 2 boys, right? 2 boys. Yep. Well, dude, we're going to bring Redhat Scotty on here for a second to talk about the Kansas City stuff. Will you tell everybody where they can, not just order parts, but then, your social media and all that kind of stuff, where they can find you guys? Sure. Yeah. So the company is boltsandnuts.com. That's our website. You can find all of our contact information there. It's boltsandnuts.com on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. And then I personally, I have my own pages. I go by Andy the Bolt Guy. People have always called me Andy. It's my first name. And they've always called me the Bolt Guy. So I figured why not put them together. But so yeah, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, I'm Andy the Bolt Guy. And I'd love to hear from you guys. Again, this is your input. I want to see you guys design this. It's for the industry. I am not a drag professional. I am a fastener pro. So you tell me what you guys want and we'll make it happen.
That's awesome.
And make it affordable too. This is not something that's a nickel and dime. You know, we want something that's affordable and that's actually usable for the industry.
Yeah. And then Jimmy, where can we see stuff from your event next week?
Actually, it'll be all over my Facebook page and Instagram, just Jimmy Montaigne. And it's soon to have a YouTube channel after that. All the GoPro stuff showed up today, so
yes,
get it done in time. We'll see.
That's exciting. All right, guys. Well, thank you very much. I hope you hang out. The plan is to talk to Redhat Scotty, Derek Putnam, and then Adam Dorey, and then bring everybody back on to kind of hang out and, kind of chit chat, talk about between everybody else. So
sure. Awesome.
Thank you guys for having us on.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
For sure.
Yeah.
Thanks. Dude, now I need to buy bolt bins and shit. So
I
great.
totally agree.
Awesome. Well, let's bring Redhat Scotty on. What were you saying? Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, like, my nuts and bolts are so unorganized that something like that would be perfect. I think that's pretty much every car guy, though.
I mean, I have buckets of them around here, so we need the bins. Dude, Redhat Scotty, is this the first time you've been on the Drag-N-Drive show? Oh, can we hear you? Yeah, there we go. Guys, if you don't know, Redhat Scotty, Redhat Scotty and I have a long history together. We've done a lot of events together, and this is exciting. So he attended, what did they call it? The Racer Roundup?
Yeah, it was something like that. Probably pulled up, but yeah. So anybody that knows Kansas City area, we used to have a drag strip, KCIR. It had been there since 1967. When it opened, it was like around 1,000 spectators. It closed in 2011. Believe it or not, the dude was there day one and the day it closed.
Wow, that's pretty cool. So
that,
for everybody, the dude is Redhat Scotty's dad, and the coolest guy you'll meet.
If you see me, he's right there with me somewhere. Yeah. But that was cool that we rode our motorcycles to the last race at the track. So that's always something that always hold near to me.
Yeah.
Well, so that one closed, and then we were supposed to get the I-70, the Central Power Sports Dragway, and some things kind of happened. And then just, it was, I think, a couple weeks ago, Blake Housley posted up a deal, said, hey, everybody meet out here. So there was a bunch of us that went out there.
Yeah.
And, it kind of started out, like anything else with this track. If you know anything about what's been going on, there's a bunch of hot air for a long time about it. We showed up last night, real nice facility out there, and, right when we walked in and you filled out like a little racer info sheet, kind of what you want, what you expected. We met with a bunch of the racers. All of us got together, which was super nice, was really good. Mm-hmm. The guy that's actually behind all this, Scott Higgs, he's the investor, kind of, the money guy, making all the plans and getting everything going. I was actually able to meet him before everything kicked off. Super nice guy, super friendly, super personable. So that was super cool going into a real nice way to kick this off for myself. Then he goes into talking about what's going to happen, what he wants, what he expects, and just amazing. Right off the hill, he said that, the track's going to be flat, really smooth, and lots of lights.
Nice.
Good way to start that off, right? I mean, that's what
right. Yeah.
Then went into money's already in escrow. So they're already getting this going. He wants and he promised to be one of the best facilities in the country.
That's pretty awesome.
They're, coming out bold like that. I mean, that got a lot of attention real fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was pretty, that was a good thing to hear. Now, moving on, talk about the track and what they're wanting and what's going to happen is they're going to try to start the construction in March, doing the grading, the infrastructure, plumbing, wiring, things like that, with the concrete to follow. And I think they're talking about like July-ish on that. The track, they're wanting to do like 770 feet of concrete from the water box. Then they're going to do asphalt, and then DOT asphalt from the 320 mark on, with a sand trap and a net.
Wow. So does that, 770 feet from the water box, does that mean like you'll have a full, concrete 1/8 mile?
Probably pretty close.
Yeah.
I would,
that makes sense.
I don't, eighth mile, that's, I don't do that. Not very well. It's 660 feet, I know, but so then a total of 4,000 feet long with concrete barriers on both sides.
That's pretty awesome. That helps a ton bring big, fast cars.
Right. So also with that, they're not decided on a sanctioning body as of yet. So not NHRA, IHRA, none of that.
Yep.
It's, I guess, up in the air. Even if they do, I don't really know. They do. Basically, he said that whatever we can run down the track, we'll run down the track. He wants to do pro mods, no prep, time only, test and tune, whatever. I mean, he was talking about, if we get bored, we can run lawnmowers and race wiener dogs.
Yeah, and with the asphalt at the
awesome.
end,
if we get bored and race wiener dogs.
Yeah, with the asphalt at the end, you could almost do some back of the track stuff, streetcar type stuff.
And
yeah,
it'll be nice. So if there's not, so essentially we can bring in all kinds of different stuff. Like the no prep kings. Hopefully we can get one of those. Streetcar takeover. Obviously Justin Keith, killer performance. His shop is 25 minutes from track. So Justin, I'm pretty sure he talked to him.
And I mean, that's where they all that's where Streetcar Takeover started, right? Was in Kansas City. I mean, it's where they live anyways, right?
Yep. It actually, it started in Blue Springs. So where
That's cool.
I'm currently sitting, the very first Streetcar Takeover was just a couple miles, 2 miles down the road at a Side Pockets Bar and Grill parking lot.
That's cool. So in the meeting, did they give kind of a timeline for, looking for stuff? I mean, you went over the stuff earlier, but can we expect racing in 24? I mean, things like that.
Maybe late October.
Wow, dang, that'd be awesome. That'd be crazy. It would be. So, I can't imagine opening a track and then okay, 2 months or a month and a half later, see you. We're closing.
Yeah, and I mean that would obviously be weather depending. I mean, kind of the weather up this way. So, we could have a foot of snow October 1st.
Yeah, and then it'd be 70 degrees October 10th. Well, I mean, I'll say this: I would love to. We'll always start and end the circuit at Mocan because they've been so good to us for the last 10 years. Love Carl and Craig and the team up there, Tyler West, new manager. So, but we would definitely love to have that as a secondary track, as we expand on the circuit and things like that. So keep those contacts for those folks close because we'll be leaning on you and asking you to introduce us or, heck, you just be our Kansas City guy.
I am the Kansas City guy.
That's awesome. Well, dude, hang tight. You're more than welcome to hang out with us. And we'll put you back. I see Derek is here in the backstage, so we're going to bring him on and talk about some Drag-N-Drive events and stuff like that and writing that he's been doing. So if you want to hang tight.
Yep,
I think we got
we'll
a little bit of delay. I do. Thanks, man. Yeah, a little bit of a delay there. Sorry about that. I'm sure it'll clear itself up as we move through all this stuff. And again, it could be the connection on my end for sure. So I apologize for any of that. And then Martin Ranger says, want to do the circuit this year. We would love to have you, dude. Send me a message. We'll figure out how to make some happen. We just sold out the second round. We asked the track to increase us to 125 cars, and they did. And we actually sold that last spot yesterday to Kyle Hood in the El Camino, MEAN, El Camino. So super cool. I've got some artwork on that coming up, and we've got more coming. So we're going to bring in Mr. Derek Putnam. He has been busy behind stage. Looks like he's making notes and stuff back there, man. I don't know. He's got a big job coming up next week. So sir, how are you today?
Careful. You don't want to give away all my secrets now, man. I'm trying to keep up on my data.
Yeah. Hey, man, what you've got coming next week is going to be brutal for sure. You've got lots of racers, 350 racers coming down. And, I can't imagine what your notebook looks like. I did some pit announcing at Midwest Drags, and dude, it was wild then. I can't imagine what it's like for you guys.
It's crazy, but it's a good way crazy. I'm getting to do something that I only thought that I would be able to watch other people do. It was something that I only thought I'd be able to do as a hobby. So if I'm dreaming, I don't want anybody to pinch me, get anywhere close to me with 2 fingers. I'm good.
That's right. Yeah. Don't wake me up, please. Well,
yep.
Why don't you introduce yourself? You've got your title there under your name there, kind of tell people what you're doing, and then give us a little bit of history of some of the other events that you've announced.
Okay. So my name is Derek Putnam. I have basically been into cars for about 40 years. My dad drugged me to the racetrack, not really unwillingly, since I was 6. And I started doing drag racing myself when I was 16, mostly bracket racing and index racing because I can't afford to go heads up. And I worked for a restoration parts company called National Parts Depot for about 24 and a half years. And then for some unknown reason, Tom Bailey decided to take a chance on me last year. I worked for NMCA and NMRA on the side as well for about 15 years. As a matter of fact, I still do. They gave me my first break announcing an event back in 2020, doing the NMRA World Finals in Bowling Green. And it has not slowed down since. I'm very thankful for all the opportunities. And it's actually gotten to the point that after 3 years, I didn't think I was going to have to start saying no, but I'm at that point. Now, I will say that working for Tom has been great because it allows me to work from home. It frees my schedule up a little bit, but I am married and have a kid. And so I can't announce as much as I'd love to, but it has definitely allowed me to announce more than I ever have. So my 2023 is packed right now.
That's great, dude. Well, obviously we're going to get into some of the racer stuff here in just a minute. Mm-hmm. One of the things that I think is really an interesting side note for your stuff and probably helps you with announcing is these articles you've been writing lately. What's one of the things that you've found that is absolutely astonishing to you from talking to all these racers?
I honestly feel like a lot of the racers on Drag-N-Drives, and again, this is something that I had built up in my mind. And you know how, like, say, for example, you emulate somebody who's famous and you have an idea in your mind of what they would actually be like if you met them in real life. To me, Drag-N-Drive people have been exactly what I expected. It is a good group of people. Yep. Obviously, like I said, I have a lot of racing experience. And to me, the bracket racing family is just like Drag-N-Drive people. It is, I would rather see 2 cars go to the starting line than 1. I will sit and wait for you until you run out of options. I'll pull over and give you my last whatever to make sure you make it to the track. Yep. And to see that kind of stuff and not only know that it's there, but grow to the number of them that are being held this year. I mean, what's the count? 23 we're up to now, I think.
Yep.
I mean, that's just crazy. But in a way, it's great because it's what the public is asking for. And, that's why we have them all.
Yeah, and one of the neat things that we talked about, or I talked about with Wes today, was like they're so spread out. There's guys in Montana that have never been able to come. Like Adam and the Rocky Mountain team. That's really why Matt started that, was because he wanted, one, to do things a little differently, and then two, none of them ever went to the Rocky Mountains. And what's cooler as far as driving around than race cars in the mountains?
Well, the interesting thing is that from me being an enthusiast, and I think it's funny because I never would have thought that I would be an announcer, but looking back at when I went to the track, and I'm dating myself here a little bit, as if my beard with gray in it doesn't do it. The fact that I grew up going to the racetrack when there were no junior dragsters. As a matter of fact, just to shove the knife in my back a little bit harder, they didn't come out until I was 16. And I'm like, oh, this sucks. I had to sit here and wait for 8 years, man. You guys don't get to do this before me. That's bullcrap. But in all honesty, I think doing it because it's what my dad loves. I come from a third generation of racers. Wow. And I think that being involved in it and paying attention to it so much, it's kind of like when you're in school and you have a favorite subject, it just naturally comes to you. You naturally remember certain things you like. Yeah. And like I told you before, I didn't think that I would be even in a position to even be involved in a series, let alone announce it, of the kind of thing that I grew up watching Brian Lohnes and David Freiberger do Hot Rod Drag Week. That was the kind of thing that I'm going, yeah, maybe one day I could do it, but not quite. And to be honest, the only issue, and thankfully, like you said, they're so spread out and there's so many different ones to do it at now. My best friend, Jason Rollins, and I had always talked about doing this because we both grew up with no trucks, no trailers. So we were dragging.
You had to,
our cars to the track, change tires because there were no drag radials back then. And there were lots of times we changed tires in the rain or the jack, dug into the asphalt or whatever. But I think that when you get into that mentality of making sure that stuff works, that again, it becomes a bigger and bigger enthusiast base. And that's why we are where we are.
Well, and you have guys like, everybody always talks about Rich Guido, but I mean, he really is the Iron Man. People can relate to that. He always tells a story. He loves driving to the track, towing his car trailer, like in his car, driving his car to the track, gets there, changes tires, runs a 8 or 9 second pass. And on the way home, he passes that dude that had like a 10 or 11 second car on the trailer, So it's always, I love that.
I would almost, here's what I would like to see, just because of my background with NMCA and NMRA. I had a chance to talk to Richard, and I will tell you that we've got some interesting things coming up for Sick Week this year. Tom and I have had a chance to, and Luke too, going from what I did last year, where I was kind of brought in as I'll be completely honest here. I was the substitute for Brian Lohnes. I'm sorry. Nobody is going to replace that guy. Those are way too big of shoes to fill, even if I had 10 times the experience I have. And it got to the point where I was like, okay, I'm not sure how to make this better, but I'm going to get up there and I'm going to be enthusiastic as hell about it because this is the kind of thing I've wanted to do. And for me, this is on par with actually participating. I would say I'd be just as happy doing this as I would be in the other end. But here's the one thing that I will tell you. Growing up, writing about stuff for NMCA and MRA, there's a guy by the name of Randy Seward. I don't know if you've ever heard about this guy. This guy actually drove his car to all 48 states in the United States one year, visited like 50 racetracks, and he was like sleeping in a sleeping bag next to his car. Or if it was cold or if it was raining, he would sleep in a Kirky seat. You can't sleep in a Kirky seat.
Dude.
So as much as I give Guido all the credit, because that guy driving out of Canada with what I've seen photos of is crazy.
Yeah.
I would say that Randy's kind of up there. I mean, now granted, he's from Florida, and then there was a little bit of time that he lived out west, I want to say in Arizona. But like, for example, I remember one year he drove his car from Arizona to Florida, ran the NMC and NMRA openers because they're usually within 2 weeks of each other, and then drove it back. And this is like a mid 8 second notch Mustang, Fox notch Mustang. So there ain't a whole lot of room in store stuff.
Right. What's his last name? Has that dude ever done Drag-N-Drive stuff?
He did Hot Rod Drag Week. I can't remember how long ago. I want to say 2012, maybe 2013. It was the year that Roadkill first came out. And Alana Shear, before she jumped over to do the other magazine that she's now, I think, no, actually she's jumped between two of them. But anyway, they stuck her in the car with him. And it was I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it's a teal, old school drag lights, but stock hood, twin turbo, old school pushrod Ford deal. But it doesn't look intimidating. It's a completely undescript car, but it's run like 820s. And I want to say he did it maybe once or twice. Cool. And it was a nice balance because you've got the stuff that I covered for Fastest Streetcar Magazine for years that I wrote, where you have True Street, where you're doing 30 miles and then 3 back-to-back laps. And I'm not even going to come close to comparing and saying one is better than the other. But I will tell you that I know people that have done True Street that probably couldn't survive a Drag-N-Drive, but I'm not going to name anybody. But I do know of at least one person that has done and been a champion at Drag-N-Drive that has never won a True Street, and they've tried it a couple times.
Wow, that's pretty
I'm not going to name who it is, but I will tell you that 3 back-to-back laps with your hood shut and trying to keep doing the same thing, especially on a turbo car, is not as easy as it sounds.
Unchained performances, you can definitely sleep in a Kirky. Ask me how I know. That's
I think that's
Drag-N-Drive life.
But yeah, I know he's roughed it a few times, including last year at Hot Rod Drag Week. I don't know how that guy hasn't caught up on his sleep yet.
Man, it's brutal. I think that's what people on the outside don't understand is that there's just so little sleep that you get during that week. And your car may be great. You may be at the hotel at 10 o'clock every night, but you're not going to sleep because there's people out there talking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was the only thing that I wish I could have done last year. Unfortunately, I had hurt my back pretty badly in January, and it was to the point where, as badly as I wanted to be in Garlett's Museum, I hadn't been there in 15 years. I couldn't stand for more than 3 minutes before I had excruciating pain, and I just had to leave. Man. Yeah. So I am looking forward to doing the route, stopping along the way, seeing people, and getting those stories. Because to be honest with you, that is really what drives me when it comes to announcing is. And I'm not knocking anybody. Don't get me wrong. There's lots of different styles, and some people like it, some people don't. But to me, reading what's on the screen is a cop-out. I think to get people interested and get people hooked, you need to tell stories. You need to give back, and you need to give background information. If you sit there and tell the crowd that this dude was up until 3 a.m. lashing valves, and he goes out there and runs a 10-second pass, that's a whole lot better and might get some sympathy and might get some people interested in this stuff. Yeah. Versus this is John Smith from Deltona, Florida with a 70 Chevelle, and he just went 10.06. It doesn't have the same punch. It doesn't resonate the same.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. And that's one of the cool things I think that I like most about a lot of especially Adam. I love that he announces people's names wrong. I think that's fun. I think he does it sometimes as a good time. He is backstage now, so we'll bring him out in just a second. We definitely wanted to talk to you for a second because, you haven't been on the show before. Adam has been on. I guess he hasn't been on Drag-N-Drive yet either. So
no, that's not true. Adam actually was with us last year.
Well, no. I meant on our show.
Oh,
Adam has done all of the Drag-N-Drives that I've ever been to, and love him for that. So, all right, well, I'm gonna put you backstage. I'm gonna do our ad read for Molly and Sweet Patina, and then bring everybody back on. You and Adam and Redhat Scotty, and then Andy and Jimmy, and we're gonna have a good time. This lasts like hour-ish, something like that, or as long as we want to talk. I think let people do their stuff. So hang tight with me, okay?
Awesome.
All right, guys, let's thank some of our sponsors, of course. That's one thing we haven't done yet. Can't do this without them, and love our folks. We're excited to have the team at Sweet Patina on board as the Built for Drag-N-Drive sponsors for 2023. Sweet Patina has a full offering of detailed products from car wash soap to degreaser to interior conditioner. I'm going to have to rewrite the way that lines up, man. It gets me every time. Sweet Patina has 11 detail products you need in your garage. All products can be used on gloss, satin, matte, and patina finishes. We are patina folks over here, so definitely use that stuff. My favorite item they offer is the TKO hand cleaning wipes, which I literally keep inside the podcast room here to show you guys, but then out in the shop, I also have another set. I will have a tub of those in or at Sick Week with me, so I can hand them out to you guys that are actually wrenching on stuff. I'll be taking media of everybody doing their stuff. If you haven't had a need for those, you haven't done a Drag-N-Drive yet, and then so use code DND57 at checkout for a discount on your order at sweetpatina.com. I'll tell you, if you order it tonight from sweetpatina.com, you can have them ship it to Orlando so you can have it for your day of racing. All right. Whew, that was a bunch. Let's bring on Adam and Derek back, and then we'll do the Molly Reed here in just a few minutes. I'm excited about this dude. I hadn't seen him in a while. What is up, my friend?
Hello, sir.
Man, I'm excited you're here, bud. We hadn't seen each other in a while.
It's been a while, and you're right. I've not been on Drag-N-Drive Addiction. I was on your personal YouTube, Narcoleptic.
Yeah, we did that a couple different times. There we go. I was going to say, you got to correct the code. DND57 for sweetpatina.com. Yeah, dude, you were on there a couple different times. We talked for 3 or 4 hours.
We got into it, and then you sent me my favorite snack.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that was a good time. And I think it sit at your work for like 2 weeks. So it was like this double surprise. It was like I sent it, and then it was like, oh, and I forgot about it. And then you're like, hey, thanks, man.
Yeah, it was really good. You sent it to my work because you stalked me. You asked where I worked. And we have like 13 locations. So it went to my main location, which is not the location I'm at.
Yeah.
So the next time I was there, they were like, hey, you have a package here? And that's weird. Yeah. And it's to The Voice or something. And it was, yeah, dude, good times. So,
yeah, it was great.
It'll be super good to catch up. And I haven't met Eric.
Yeah. Yeah, it's exciting. So we're really twisting Eric's arm to bring him to a Drag-N-Drive. He's probably going to do Six Summer as the media side of Drag-N-Drive Addiction. So that'll be exciting for him to do that too. So tell everybody what your favorite snack is so they can purchase that for you and give it to you in person next week.
Well, my Drag-N-Drive snack of choice is the Biggs Taco Supremes sunflower seeds.
Yeah. So if you guys see those, grab those. Yeah. If you see those, grab those. And then as you see Adam carrying his briefcase up to the tower, which nobody knows what's in the briefcase, carrying it up to the tower.
I could tell you, but then I'd have to kill you.
Yeah, I don't want to be dead. So let's bring on.
But yours, hold on, I'm going to bring it back. Yours is hold on, my dog is on my computer here. Go away, dog. Yours is Sour Patch Kids.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, you can generally find me a bag of Sour Patch Kids. If I'm riding around, I've got those, and then the new Nerds gummy clusters, bro. I'll eat a whole bag of them in one sitting.
Well, and that was a race week deal. We had the Road Week, which is our version of the Sick Ward at Sick Week, which we'll be doing next week. But kind of the idea is power tour. You come along for the drive. You don't do any of the racing, but you get priority entry into the tracks. You have special parking to where you go. You're an actual part of the event, and you'll see that next week at Sick Week as well. But at Race Week, we do a couple of awards for the coolest Road Week car, and I think they have that for the Sick Ward as well. But these guys showed up with this Honda minivan. And the backstory was amazing. They had bought a pallet of Nerds gummies packages, and their idea was they were going to flip them because they were going for whatever, $2.35 on Amazon. They could make $1 per bag, and they were going to get rich off of a pallet of these. Well, it turns out the market for Nerds gummies is not that large. So they've had this pallet of Nerds gummies until they were damn near expired, and they brought them on Road Week.
Oh, how cool.
It was super neat. So we called them the Candyman van. and you would be sitting at a stoplight, and they would honk the horn and tell you to roll the window down, and they would fire about 6 or 7 bags of Nerds gummies into your car sitting at the stoplight. We let them make passes, and they did the longest front wheel drive van burnout I think I've ever seen in my life. On the way to like about a 22-second quarter mile, and then they came around this was at Bandimere. Bandimere has 2 return roads. There's one that goes kind of all the way around the track, and there's one that handrails the track, and it's for like the top fuel guys to go down and go pick up their top fuel car at the top end. Well, he came back that one and fired about 300 bags of those into the stands at Bandimere, which is super duper awesome. So yeah, Nerds gummies are that's the jam.
I'm telling you, and it's just fun having fun at those events like that, because like those guys didn't have to do that. They could have taken the van and just cruised around and still would have had fun. But man, I'm telling you, the Drag-N-Drive community is just different than everything else. That is for sure.
Yeah, it's nothing can compare to that. And I mean, honestly, Derek can talk about that a bit, because Derek was thrown to the gauntlet of Drag-N-Drive. I'm sure he's been kind of paying attention to what was going on or whatever, but yeah, he gets a call and says, "Hey, you're about to announce Sick Week, dude." And he's like,
"Oh,
okay,
dude, let me tell you something.
What's that like? What's that like?"
Let me tell you something. When Brian hits me up and says, "I can't do this, I have a confliction," it's the, "Oh, I'm excited" on one side, and then it's the, "If I screw this up."
Yeah. We'll be finding a hole to bury you in for sure.
Yeah, I
think you'll be
very
okay
fortunate
though.
to have somebody like Adam on board with me, because I'm like, I'm struggling on a couple and he's struggling on a couple, and we fed off each other pretty well most of the week. And then I found out that, okay, so I have to find out, like, if they're from this side of the Mississippi, then Adam's going to know them. If they're from this side, then I'm going to know them. So we're okay.
That's right. That's exactly right. And I think that's going to be really cool. And Sick Week and the Drag-N-Drive community is so, I don't know, man. It's a wintertime deal. I think a lot of people they're going to be out that wouldn't, because after this, everybody goes their own direction, and their event starts in 3 or 6 or 7 months,
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
Nope,
but like
exactly,
you said, the good news is there's so many of them, and that makes it to where even if you didn't make this one, for example, like I know people that are dying to get off the wait list.
Yeah.
And if you didn't make this one, okay, there's another one coming in April, or there's 3 or 4 coming in April. And if you miss that, then there's 6 summer that you can go to. If you miss that, then you got Drag Week, and you've got Street and you've got all these other ones. So it's like, yeah, if you don't make one, you shouldn't get depressed about it and have to wait a whole year. You can come back, you can go and try a different one.
And I'll tell you too, if you're a brand new into this, brand new, never done one, do a weekend one. Man, that is the cheapest way to get in and really dip your toes in. And I mean, dip your toes in all the way to the knees, you know what I mean? And you get a pretty damn good idea in 3 days if your junk is going to stay together on the road, if it's going to stay cool. There's so much different that happens on the road than it's so much more than meets the eye, and it comes down to it. I say it every year, and I'll probably say it this year. Larry Larson said it the best, you guys. How many, somebody will tell you, what'd you do last week? Oh, well, I drove my car 1,000 miles and drove it down the racetrack for 5 days. And most people may get one half of that. Like, man, I drag race for 5 days straight. Holy shit, dude. Like, that's no joke. You drag race for 5 days straight? Oh, and by the way, even if you just drive to work, think about your normal neighbor's drive to work.
Yeah.
If they drive 40 miles, dude, that's a long drive. They might have 80 miles round trip. Dude, if we're 80 miles away from where we're going, we're almost there.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
80 miles is
dude.
nothing.
Right,
absolutely
exactly. So when you stack both of those things onto each other, it doesn't matter if your car runs 6s or if your car runs 16s. That's something, man. That's just something. And being able to get out on one of these weekend deals is super cool because it gets you, again, you go in right to your knees and you just, I mean, here we go. And what's beautiful is with those 3-day deals, you're never more than 1 track away from your trailer if you have to tow there. Yeah. So, I mean, it gives you a good idea of what it's going to be like. and do it, man. Sign up for all this stuff. It's super fun. It's the most fun you'll have with your pants on.
I was going to say, Alex here talking about a 160-mile round trip for him.
We love you, Alex. Thanks, bud.
I've been watching his stuff all week. He's been driving the car all week, a couple different days. I mean, that's really, these guys need to be out cruising these cars today bad. They need to know there's nothing gonna happen.
It's very interesting to watch how people are prepping now that I'm really starting to pay attention to this over the last couple of years, because don't get me wrong. I mean, like I'm going to write probably for another 6 hours tonight about some stuff that I've been seeing about people that have been breaking stuff or people that have been waiting for stuff. And, I mean, I could probably let a nugget or two drop on here tonight if you guys want to know, but
hey, listen, what's your snack of choice? I'll bring some.
Mine?
Yeah.
Oh God. In honor of Kevin Diossi, I absolutely will tear up a bag of spicy honey mustard combos.
Oh, wow.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah. Now the problem with these things, in my opinion, from everybody that has had them, is once you eat them, you want them again, and not every place has them. Like, not every convenience store has them, not every grocery store has them. So it's like,
Okay, so last year, my newest thing, and I'm looking so forward to it, is Luke, who's from Australia, and Pavi and I were all riding together in one of the Radford racing cars. So Pavi and Luke, both from Australia, we thought, here we are. We should probably get boiled peanuts, and we got boiled peanuts, and I'm a fan, man. That stuff does not exist in Denver. So I'm super excited to get back in the kind of the backwoods of Florida when you can get gas and Cajun boiled peanuts. And then the best part is, like, for a little bit of that, I was riding with, and I cannot remember his name. He's got a black OBS truck with a stick. That's going to kill me. But I rode with him for an entire section, and we were talking about boiled peanuts, and I was like, man, this is amazing. And he's from Georgia. And he goes, dude, come on, man. You had gas station boiled peanuts. I make good boiled peanuts. I didn't realize it was a thing down south, that you guys are, like, proud of your boiled peanuts and your grits, apparently, too, right?
Nice.
So, so I'm looking forward to boiled peanuts, too, man.
Here's a great thing right here. This is Alex. I actually found a bad turbo drain line from driving it around.
I would say Alex is one of the few guys that I actually see drive his car, and because he's not too far away from me, he and I actually had a discussion about this when he was testing earlier this year at Gainesville, and he told me, he said, with being a firefighter, it makes it real difficult for him to actually be able to go out and do a lot of different stuff, as far as racing goes. So I'm guessing he probably puts miles on his car most of the time, but as far as him being able to go out and actually exercise it properly, those are probably fewer and far between. So in a case like his, Drag-N-Drives make sense, man. If you're going to take the time off, you might as well make it worth it and just take the whole week.
Yeah, there's a lot of folks that will make more passes during a Drag-N-Drive than they will the rest of the year.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, this is all they do.
Yeah.
Everything that they do all year is one, or if they're lucky, two of these, and that's the only time they drive or race their car.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly right. Well, I've got just a couple of questions for you guys leading up to next week. So, Eric, if you want to jump in, we can maybe talk about some of the sick ward stuff and things like that.
Yeah. So it looks like 250 sick ward entries. So why is having this group of participants? What can that change Drag-N-Drive events?
Adam, you want to take this, or you want me to?
What? It's sick ward, man. This is your jam, but I think we can both jump on this, dude.
So here's the thing that I would tell you. I have talked to probably, I want to say, half a dozen people last year that did sick ward, and I asked them why they got involved in it. And they said, well, I'm not sure if my car would hold up the entire time. I don't want to sit in line to just get into the regular spectator deal. The fact that they give you special exclusive stuff that would only go to a sick ward person, and you feel like you're part of the event. And it's basically the way to participate in all the fun. But to be honest, we put it on ourselves, but it's without the pressure. You don't have to worry about going out there and making a lap, even if it's like you said, it's a 16-second lap or an 18-second lap. I think that it's a more relaxed way to get into it. And if you like that, but you find yourself chomping at the bit, like by day 3 to say, God, I wish I was making a pass. Okay, sick week for you next year.
Yeah. Yep.
I would say 100% the most fun on Drag-N-Drive is on the road, baby. 100%. The passes are great, and everyone wants to kind of get those PBs going and all that stuff. But the road is where all the heroic fixes are going to happen. It's where, the pardon the pun, but the men and versus the boys. I mean, the men rise to the top with this thing. Like that is where you get all of the soul of this.
Yeah.
Anyway, drag racing's drag racing. But taking that same car and driving it on the street that's where it's at. So with Sick Ward, with Road Week, with Power Tour, with whatever you do where you just get the thing out, get it out, and you get to get gas next to Tom Bailey's car, which is 4,000, probably 4,500 horsepower, and he'll be filling it up with 91 and eating gas station nachos and chopping it up with you at the gas station, and he's happy that you're there.
Well, and I think part of it too is like it's going to be interesting to see how the growth of these Road Week and Sick Ward stuff, how that adds to just the complete experience of the event. How do you, because that's the only way we're going to grow. You can there's only so much time that you can run cars down the track.
Yep.
So, you can't suddenly go from 350 cars to 500 and give everybody a good experience, but you could have 350, 400 Sick Ward cars or Road Week cars or VIP like Midwest Drags. You can have those cars that just add to the experience. And there's a ton of really cool cars within the, extra drivers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
The thing I would say that I kind of harken back to, and again, I'm dating myself when I say this, is working for a company that sold restoration parts. I can at least appreciate the fact that there are people that may not want to do things exactly the same way I do, but they're still enthusiasts. And when we have so many things going against us, that's the kind of thing where we need to be more accepting, not more dividing. And that makes me immediately think back to Fun Ford Weekend, Super Chevy shows, and to be honest, the modern stuff like we talk about with Sick Ward and Road Week. You may not have somebody who has a car that they want to beat on going down the racetrack, but they're still an enthusiast. They still want to watch it, and they still want to be part of it. And that should be celebrated, not ignored, not divided.
Yep. And you see a vast amount of cars that have been brought out of the garage and put on the road.
Yeah.
From the beginning of, really pump gas drags kind of stuff. You know what I mean? And just, who knows, dude? Some guy had an old bracket car that was, a ladder bar back half, like, 950 bracket car. And he goes, dude, this is pretty neat, but like, all I get to do is enjoy it for 9.5 seconds 3 times because I'm a first round duck, and I'm freaking out, man. I'm going back home. So the amount of people that have put an engine in that car and or just balled up and brought that car out on the road and saw what the hell it did is amazing to think about. Think about the thousands of cars that were sitting in a garage doing nothing and or never saw the light of day outside of a racetrack. Yeah. All of a sudden they're out. And that's the same thing for a Sick Ward, a VIP, a Road Week kind of car. Same exact deal. You bring this thing out and maybe you're not ready to take it down the track, or it's just not a track kind of car, but you got it out, you dusted it off, you threw your old lady in the passenger seat, and you're about to go on the most fun you ever had. And that includes or doesn't include quarter mile passes. Either way, you are going to have the most fun you've ever had.
It's about the adventure, right? That's the slogan here, right? That's whether you're on the track or not. The drive from track to track and hanging out is the adventure.
Oh yeah, parking lot drinking at Drag-N-Drive. There ain't nothing in the world like parking lot drinking at Drag-N-Drive.
Man.
All right, Adam, you got me. I'm buying in.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's do it. What are you doing next week?
Yeah. You want to go next week?
Check my calendar. Hang on a minute. Hey, listen, you and I didn't get to, like I just told them, I said, you and I didn't get to do that last year, so I got to make up for lost time. I mean, I don't want to be slurry the next day, but I want to make up for lost time a little bit.
Well, yeah, and that's part of the fun of announcing the deal. That's kind of the advantage I have at the race week. We race at night. So I get like all day to be hungover and screwed up. And then by night, I'm like, okay, I'm tired, but like I'm back. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
All
it takes
I've had
is
enough energy drink and Taco Supreme.
Put that mic in his hand and get some adrenaline going. He's like, I'm in.
Let's go, giddy up. So
okay, so what I'm saying, so what
different.
you're telling me is I need to tell Tom, hey, dude, next year at night, I gotta have the recovery morning. I need it.
Exactly. But no, we'll see how it goes, dude. But I'm in. I can't wait. And if nothing else, awards, dude, super fun. Everyone kind of gets together. I know that the SICK team is putting together all sorts of good awards and stuff to give out over there too. It's going to be super awesome, and I'm super excited to be part of it again. I did get asked back, which will be super cool. So I'm going to be there doing whatever the heck I'm going to be doing. I'm super, super, super sad to hear that Brian's not going to be able to make it, unfortunately. I was looking forward to kind of chopping it up with Brian and Derek and doing that whole mess. So super kind of sorry to hear that he's not going to be there. But at the same time, I mean, you got Derek. He's the guy. He is the announcer, the official SICK week, SICK summer, death summer, all the SICK events. He's the guy. And on top of that, you've seen all of the great print that he's been putting out, and I'm talking about like multiple things a day, dude. Derek's the real deal, and he's going to be a real good asset for SICK and next week for sure. I mean, the dude brings it. He's a solid announcer, dude. I mean, brings the thunder with him, gets it hyped. He's good, and he's a definite. Like I said, he's a positive for this deal, and I'm happy that he's coming along, and I'm pretty excited to be able to chop it up with him up there in the tower next week.
Yeah, thanks, Adam. Your check's in the mail for blowing me up. I appreciate it.
Yeah, he's
going
to give you that next week.
Yeah, exactly. Honestly, it's in my opinion, and I know Adam and I have talked about this because ironically, I hired him to do my event last year because of the energy he brings, and that's. Yeah, I saw that, bud. I saw it. And like I said, I'll give you props next week. But it's the kind of thing where honestly, I think when you look at where Drag-N-Drive started, it started from an enthusiast, and nothing against racetracks, nothing against people that honestly have way more business sense than we do because, with cars and racing, we could just set the money on fire and it would be the exact same thing. So, but when you look at the fact that all these events are becoming available and a real good amount of them are being done by racers because they want to do what they can to prop the community up, to bring more awareness to it, to make it where more people can experience it. And that comes from doing stuff like what you're doing, Mike, what you're doing, Eric, and what you're doing, Adam. It's all of us having the opportunity, taking charge of that opportunity and making a difference. Even if we only get one more person involved in our sport, that's one more than we would have had otherwise.
Yeah. Well, and that's right, 100%. And what we're going to see in 23, we're going from, 2019, there were 4 events, 3 national and 1 regional. And that probably means there's 800 people total. Now we're looking, we had more than 1,800 compete last year, 22. 3,500 people compete in 2023. Like, we have leaps and bounds grown in the last 2 years, and a lot of it comes back to just the sheer volume of stuff that is on social media.
Totally. Look at Alan Murray, who, you guys saw him at Race Week last year. Yep. Hero fixed his car twice. Yeah. First time broke the bell housing and spun the transmission in the tunnel, by the way. And was able to fix that thing overnight, make the drive, come back just in time to blow the rear end up. Yep. To come back around, fix the 8.8 that he had in his G body, and make a pass to win naturally aspirated big block at race week.
Yeah.
Dude, wild. But he says a cool thing is when people see you driving your car track to track and treat you like a famous person for doing an event they always dream of doing.
Yeah.
And that's it, dude. 3,500 people now are, you know, it started with this 800, and it's like, man, I really wish I could do that. Well, now you got no excuse. Go out and do it. 3,500 people this year, and you know, a couple of those will be, you know, we'll do extras
Duplicates,
and multiples and whatever. But I mean, say, you know, 3,000 people get out and go do something like this. The reach that this has become and the monster this has become is just, it's amazing. It's super cool.
Well, and I love it for the simple fact that it is going to allow racing to continue. The cooler the people are that get into this, you know, because like that's the other side of it too. We haven't seen that next level of racer get into this. The NHRA guys, the, you know, really fast pro mod guys that like race all week.
Careful.
Well, hey, I'm talking about like
a few have for sure.
Right. But just
I was going to say, we got a top fuel guy coming this year. So careful.
Yeah. I can't wait. Clay Milliken's going to be freaking, that's the beans.
Yeah. It's going to be great.
Larry Dixon raced. Larry Dixon raced.
He's got his Nova.
Yeah. He's done, he did Drag Week and Midwest Drags last year. I mean, you know, when you start seeing that level of folks come to this, I think that's really when people that are NHRA centric only watch the top level guys. Now they follow those folks. Clay has a huge following on social media. So now he's out here talking about these events. What does that do for our sport? How do we, you know, we just completely grow from there. And these guys are now those folks sitting at home that are used to watching Clay on the weekends race. Now they're watching him every day on the live stream. And they're hearing stories, they're watching his social media feed, they're seeing all this stuff. And again, you know, I love the story of family oriented vehicles, you know, that the Dentley truck is super cool. So, I mean, and it's going to be really, really fast.
Yeah. It's like you said, it's great when you can break, in my opinion, barriers that really don't exist because everybody, like you said, they think that NHRA is over here and everybody else is over here. But let's go back a couple of years. They invited a whole bunch of people from Hot Rod Drag Week to come out and run an 850 specific designated class at ZMAX, including Rick Steinke, who drove his car out with like 3 Hot Rod staffers in it. So it's like, trust me when I tell you, you just have to look in the right place. The opportunities are there.
I'm trying to find a photo from that exact deal, and it's Scott Brown with his 54 Chevy Bel Air, and the car they call Capone. And there's John Force fully kitted up, and it's the force down the leg, and he's got his helmet on, and he's getting ready to get in his car, and he's peeking over the fender of that Bel Air, and he's like, I mean, you can't see his face, but you can tell the look on his face with his body. I mean, it's just the best thing ever. It's the best picture I've ever seen.
Well, and
he told that story last week.
Yeah, I was going to say he told that story last week, and the cool thing is like John Force is a car guy. You know what I mean? Like, that dude knows his stuff and races and has raced forever, but then sees this and thinks we're all crazy. You know, I think one of the Midwest Drags, they stopped at John Force Racing as a route stop, and
he did.
You know, he burned his thumb on the
turbo. He
burned
his finger on Cletus's turbo.
Yeah, you know, oh shit, that's hot. Yeah, what do you think, dude? He just drove 60 miles. Yeah.
Yeah, he's looking over at it.
That's awesome. That is too cool.
It's great, man.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. So I will tell you, when I talked to Antron Brown after he won Pro 275 at the Snowbirds, and I sat there and thought about that for a second. I said, okay, so this is a guy who has not only won and gotten championships in motorcycle, but also in top fuel. And he's going, some people could say, back to 275. And when I talked to him about it, he was like a kid in a candy store. He goes, it was so much of a different feeling. It was cool slamming the door, da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, okay, so I'm going to throw the question out here. Would you ever consider doing a Drag-N-Drive? And he goes, oh man, when Power Tour came through and I saw all these cars, he goes, I started thinking, okay, could we do that but go racing? And so it's kind of like the problem that Hot Rod has always had is Brian for the last several years has never been able to finish it because it always runs into something. Mm-hmm. So I have to wonder, okay, with all these other ones that, you know, we keep talking about this, we keep coming back to it. all these other events now that might not run into an NHRA event. And it's like, okay, so are you going to get the clearance? Are you actually going to be able to go out and do it? Are we going to see more and more people participate? And if that happens, man, I love the idea, because I think it's going to show people that just think, yeah, you're doing it for a profession. It's your job. And I get that. It doesn't mean you're not an enthusiast. It doesn't mean you can't relate on the same level as most Drag-N-Drive people.
Yeah,
totally.
Yep. That's 100% correct. All right, guys, let me do the Molly Motorsports Rig, because we had them sign up this last week as a brand sponsor. I love those guys. So hang tight with me, and then we're going to bring everybody back on. Okay.
Cool.
All right, let me get my notes pulled back up here. Molly Motorsports is the official pistons of Drag-N-Drive.com. The Power Pack piston is a perfect candidate for your Drag-N-Drive car. Molly is a team that not only supports the community, but also races with us, like product manager Eric Grillo, who races a 10-second stick shift Nova. He raced it at Hot Rod Drag Week 2022, and then he also competed in Rocky Mountain Race Week with his C10 truck. Visit Molly Motorsports for the most recent lineup of products. I'll be meeting with the Molly team at Sick Week as well. So I'll be part of my daily dose of Drag and Drive will be a conversation with them and see what they've got going on, see which cars they're watching and all that kind of stuff. So I'm excited about that. And then, dude, you let me forget earlier that we've got a huge announcement coming Monday. But I just got a message also that there's going to be a huge announcement Saturday morning this week on the Drag and Drive News show as well. So we've got a lot of cool stuff coming up. It's only going to get better from here, I promise. All right. So the plan is now I'm going to open this little cooler and get me a margarita. I'm blaming completely on Robert Williams. He's the one that showed me these, and I'm going to bring everybody back on. It looks like Andy and Jimmy also have some beers there in the backstage. So we're going to bring everybody on. We're going to kind of have a open conversation here about some Drag and Drive stuff. And you guys know these Derek and Adam can definitely carry a conversation because that's what they do the best. So we got Redhat Scotty coming on now too.
Redhat!
And then Andy and
What's
Jimmy.
up?
Hey guys.
Andy and Jimmy, hey, nice to meet you guys. I see you guys doing big things, and I do appreciate your pouring into the motorsports community, man. You guys are awesome.
Yeah.
Amen. Yep.
Thanks, Adam. Yeah, we're becoming more and more involved, and we're trying to help out as much as we can. It's definitely an industry that needs help, so at least fastener wise.
Hell yeah.
Well, we need mental help too, but
yeah, right. All nuts.
That's right. We're all nuts. That's exactly right. Well, I thought what would be kind of fun is to tell some stories. Everybody loves carnage. So we would love to start with a round of that and talking about maybe stuff we've hurt or stuff that has hurt in front of you. I know Adam had a car he raced for a while. Now he doesn't will that because he handles the mic, but Stevie does that driving for him. So I thought you've probably broken stuff before. So why don't you get us started and then we'll loop our way around.
I love it. That's awesome. Okay. So my Malibu, which is it's a stick shift LS swap 79 G-body Malibu, was my that's what got me into this. I did Drag Week 14 and 16 in that car. I blew the transmission actually up on Drag Week 16, and that was what turned it into a stick car. Anyway, I digress. At some point, I put a blower on that car, which is the same blower that was on my 4.8, but I had to switch from the 4.8. This was an LS1 aluminum block, kind of stock bottom end deal. Anyway, I got this blower, put it on. It was awesome, but it made a ton of noise when it was running. So I had to rebuild it. So I pulled the rotor pack out of this Magnuson blower in an attempt to rebuild or put new bearings in the back of it. When I did that, it was full of needle bearings.
Ooh.
And they went blue. So I took all the blower manifold and everything off, and I put all the needle bearings back in, and I counted them, and everything looked awesome, and I got them all back in there. Well, I missed one. And it perfectly went into the intake valve and stood up straight on the piston in the cylinder bore. And so I started that car with the blower on, with that needle bearing in it, and it rammed the needle bearing through the ring pack like a nail. And but did not hurt anything in that motor because it only idled. I've actually got it in my garage. I just had to put a new piston in. It was great, but the picture from it is amazing.
That's awesome.
That's
awesome.
pretty solid.
Yeah. He has definitely had some cool stuff. Derek, what's some stuff you've torn up in Drag-N-Drive stuff, or just I guess any event?
I've never torn up anything in Drag-N-Drive, but I've torn up plenty of crap. Oh geez. I'm trying to think which one I want to throw out there. I guess since everybody likes hearing stories of fast cars, I'll go ahead and I'll throw that out there. At one point, it was written for kind of a let's see what happens with it. It was done for Fastest Street Car Magazine with NMCA. We put together a 496 just to see how long it would last with good rotating assembly, but the motor ended up making a lot more power than we thought. We were aiming for 900 at the crank, and it made 960. And then we changed the supercharger, and that was supposed to only make about 50 more, and it ended up making 161 more at the tires. So then everything that lasted didn't last anymore.
Yeah.
And I had a valve that decided it wanted to exit stage left at 500 feet. And it bounced around in there like a piece of popcorn and screwed so much stuff up that we were like, okay, when you're tightening the heads down every 40 runs, that's kind of your cue that, okay, the stock block is done. So I've been saving the money to try and get a dart block and good heads and what have you. But I would say that probably the most interesting one that I've seen personally from social media, and ironically, I just did a story on this guy, I think yesterday, is Taylor Hedrick. And when he was on Hot Rod Drag Week, and knew that he had 2 dead holes, unplugs those injectors, overnights parts to the next racetrack, stages it to get a 20-second time, tears the thing apart for 15 hours to put it back together to drive to the last day and get rained out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
brutal.
He told me point blank that when one of his buddies was like, are you sure you really want to do this? And he's like, we're here. We're getting this thing done. I want to finish. Something like that. So that's where you can really sit there and go, okay, the line between determination and being a little bit crazy
and totally stupid.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he's coming back. He'll be at Sick Week in the 6-shift class, and is one of our 7-second guys that we're watching.
Yeah, and that class has very, very quickly, and again, taking nothing away from Richard Guido, but holy cow, that class is going to be a bomb fest. It is a lot of fast cars in there.
Guido's stuff is awesome, and Guido's great, but dude, Guido ain't 7s, which I mean, and he'll tell you straight up too. I mean, like, man, he's gonna be moving, and it's gonna be sweet. But dude, my money again, it got to be on Chad Fegley.
Yeah.
Snake
shift winner of Rocky Mountain or Race Week, not Rocky Mountain, Race Week.
So here's the dark. I'm not necessarily going to disagree with you on anything, but let me just throw out there, not that it needs to be said, but making 1,400 horsepower at the tire with a genuine Pontiac engine deserves praise. That is
for sure.
No, again, nothing against the dude.
Yeah,
I mean,
but it's also in a barge.
It's over 4,000. I want to say it's like 41 or 4,200 pounds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So here's the people that, other than what Adam has thrown out there, because again, we talked about this and you guys joke, but this is the kind of stuff that I thrive on, is I like knowing who I'm talking about, backstories, etc. So you throw Chad out there, twin turbo vet, guy that owns the shop, has done a whole bunch of people's cars, including Kyle from 1320 Video. So he's a 7-second player. I mentioned Taylor. He's been in the bottom 8s, high 7s, and he just dynoed his car and made like close to 1,200 horsepower at the wheels. And that's a 2-valve, which most people don't do that way.
He's an animal. I ask him why, and he's like, I don't know. Maybe I'm dumb.
As people that don't have any common sense should say. So the dark horse that I would say, because we don't know how fast it's going to go, and in my opinion, this can kind of apply to people that say, I can't understand why there aren't more cars in the 5s, or I can't understand why there aren't more cars in the 6s. And it's one thing when you go to something like World Cup or FL2K or Texas 2K, And if it blows up, you can push it in the trailer.
Yeah.
Guys are not going to leave that tune-up in it and try to last for 5 days. They're going to not turn it back a bunch, but they're definitely going to make sure they can get from A to B. So the interesting pick, just because I don't know how well he's going to do, but it's a unique combination, is Jeremy Howell with the
Jeremy
GT
Howell, the
flat
freaking
car.
Flat Fox, dude.
Yeah.
The
Which
Flat
ran
Fox.
730s at World Cup.
And
Yeah.
so,
That would
guys,
be interesting to see how he does.
this is the flat plane crank 5.2 out of the GT350.
Yep.
It sounds like nothing you ever heard. He brought it out to Mod Nationals, which is a race I was able to announce. That was one that Derek actually announced as well. And I got to watch that car make some passes, and I'm with you on that. If he can make the drive in that car, that he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. 730s with a freaking voodoo 5.2 flat plane crank. Like I said, if you're going to be there, make sure you're on the starting line or near the starting line when that guy runs, because it is stupid.
Yeah.
We had all three of those guys on, 2 weeks ago?
Yes. Sick Week is now named Stick Week.
Exactly. I saw that pop up. And
what's really cool is 2022, there were more than 30 stick shift racers at Sick Week. Are we going to see that kind of number? Has anybody seen the back registration numbers and classes and things like that?
I bet
there's
more.
1 second.
I bet there's more than
32 cars is what I have right now.
Wow. That's amazing.
Now keep in mind, that's an early list, and that's before we ever got into drops. And the thing is I know some people that are on those lists that have jumped from the 235 class to the 275 class and back and forth. So I would honestly probably, like you said, I would bank on a solid 2 to 2.5 dozen stick cars actually being there, regardless of what the count is.
Yeah. It's wild. I love seeing all the new stick shift stuff. And really what's crazy is these guys' combos aren't wild. It's not like there's some crazy, I mean, you can't, it's a H pattern leg assisted clutch. It's not even it's got to be a regular stick shift car. It's not some Linko or Bruno or something like that.
Yes. Now, with that being, well, actually, keep going, because I don't want to jump off categories, because you said stick and I thought of somebody, but it wouldn't be the category he was in. So keep going.
Oh, okay. Well, now you got me
I'll
intrigued.
get to it in a minute.
Okay. All right.
I'll get to it.
Yeah. So stick shift stuff, when Chad Chad is still on factory rear suspension geometry, rear mounted trans, all that kind of stuff. That's what really blew me away. And I mean, he said that car should be 740s capable. We know Jeremy Howell's been 730s, but again, that was all out, balls out. Who cares if it breaks kind of run? What are we going to see, day 3, day 4, South Georgia Motorsports Park.
Yeah, dude. I mean,
PTs.
We'll see. Yeah. It's like you always, everyone always says, man, the road is the great equalizer.
Yeah.
Everyone can go real fast, but then throw it on the road and do it again. And then put it on the road and do it again. And again, I heard you guys talking earlier about true street type stuff. Yes, that's a different kind of deal, but none of these guys are doing that either.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
correct.
there's a different level with all of this stuff. But dude, stick, my jam. I love the stick class. I'm super happy that a lot more of the Drag-N-Drives are bringing in stick classes, and not even Drag-N-Drives, just overall races. Having stick classes in them is really, really bringing a lot of those stick cars, kind of same deal, out of the woodwork. Maybe you had a non-competitive, what is the stock Coyote stock in NRA, and maybe you were just not competitive in that class, and all of a sudden you've got a perfect stick car to bring out to something like this. And dude, the stick game is my jam. I love it. Thanks everyone for bringing stick cars out. Bring more stick stuff to all your races, man.
Yeah. The biggest thing I would throw out there real quick that I would say that makes this interesting, in my opinion, from watching some of the stuff that's been live streamed, and Adam, I'm sure you could probably speak to this better than anybody, is it's Florida and Georgia in February. It's not running during the summer or in, say 5,000 to 9,000 foot of elevation. You're talking about depending on the day. Now, last year it was real cold, so I don't think we're going to see that based on what I see on the forecast. But I wouldn't be surprised if we're in, I'd say, between 500 to 1,500 feet of DA, and that's a big swing from what a lot of these other ones are running.
Oh yeah,
so that's going to make the cars quicker just in that form.
Yeah,
100%.
Yep.
And I mean, like at Mod Nationals, we were 600 feet mine shaft, and I mean it was different. You know, a freaking hurricane had just gone through, and it was cold and whatever. But yeah, dude, in Denver, we are lucky in the middle of the day or right when we're starting if we're not 10,000 DA.
Oh yeah,
Oh, that is crazy.
Yeah, it's stupid crazy a mile up. But
all right,
again,
Craig. All right, Craig. Hang on, we're getting to NA stuff in a minute.
Yep. All right.
Those NA dudes are almost as bad as the 6-shift guys.
If we're talking about the badass ones, then we're probably not talking about Craig's, though, right?
Ouch.
Boy.
I'm about to put him in here to defend himself here. To
the bad part, Adam, is Craig's a Florida guy who, ironically, along with Robert Williams, is an ex-bracket racer, and I know both of them. So I'm not going to take that bullet for you. I'm going to send him to come find you.
like, oh, that's that guy. What I will say, though, is for the NA guys, I know I've taken too long to do this, but the Drag Week historical stuff for NA is coming probably after Sick Week. I just don't have time to get to it before them. And then obviously with Sick Week, there's all kinds of NA classes. Jerry Sweet and Matt Sweet have completely, I think, refreshed the engine and drivetrain in the Nova, and they're ready to come out Pro Street NA and go from third place to number one. And then, guys, you saw the Sea Red Camaro is already in Florida doing some testing, I think, or getting close to testing. So that should be awesome. Maybe we can see some record-setting NA stuff this year. That'd be great.
Then you got Tab Scott in there.
Tab Scott,
probably one of the, if you're an NA guy, one of the best quotes that I've ever heard. The compression, he did not tell me what the compression ratio was exactly, but he said it was high enough to make grown men cry.
That's the only way to do it. That's the only way you can get there, NA.
Yeah. Well, and I'll tell you, the dude's super nice too. I sat and had probably about a 2-hour conversation with him over breakfast on Sick Week last year. And we were talking stuff that, dude, a lot of guys, even probably 5 years ago, would have been really hush-hush about. But he said, I can build you a small block Chevrolet Gen 1, 427 base. I can build you my motor to go 920, but I'm not giving you the rest of the combo. And it's not that wicked, man. And a lot of the stuff that people are doing, like changing rocker arms and stuff like that to get less valve lift, or actually try to be easier on the springs, he doesn't do, because he's like, dude, you put them on a spin trial, they oscillate. So I run them all the way to nothing all the time, constantly. And he's like, it's got a real slippery converter. I can tell you it's 7,000 plus.
Wow.
And he's like, that's kind of it. But it is wicked, and it's 15-degree top end, I believe, and a single 4-barrel.
Wow. But with what kind of intake?
I actually don't know what kind of intake he runs.
It is a Mopar designed intake.
There you go.
Okay.
Which is interesting, yeah. But I would be in the same boat, dude. He's been doing it since 2015 with, unfortunately, a car that he no longer has because it got stolen.
Stolen.
Yeah, but when you think about how long he's been after that, since he was running mid to upper nines to where he is now, I don't think I'd want to give away all my secrets either, man. I mean, it took him a while.
I don't blame him even 1 second. You don't want to give a guy that, but he'll tell you to do it 920 and keep it alive. And dude, a 920 naturally aspirated small block with a single 4-barrel is that's getting it. That is scooting, and So that's super cool. I thought it was really neat, and it was really good to talk to him a little bit. And he said, if you think you want to do it, just call me. I'll help you out.
Loop here, guys. That's the problem. You two, and I have is we'll talk for hours. Sorry, we need to hear some carnage stories from Jimmy and Andy. Jimmy went down with big.
Imagine that we got off track.
Yeah, what are we talking about? What is it? And then Redhat Scotty has some great ones too. So Jimmy, you got some good stuff.
Yeah,
so
Redhat's got some stuff.
So last year, yeah, you guys were talking about the circle track that got bought by business developers, I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
So last year in Byron, we actually torched the head on the Duster, which runs like 770s. It's 3,900 pounds with the driver in it. It's a heavy car. It makes a lot of horsepower. And the owner of Byron actually brought out a generator and a light for us at like 11 o'clock at night for us to rebuild the car in the parking lot, which was just amazing. It was amazing.
Yeah.
And come to find out that the new owner that bought the track, I'm sorry, the old owner that owned the track, I don't know if anyone knows this, I'm sure they do, but he was offered more money when he had the track for sale, but he turned it down because they were going to develop it into, condos or apartments or
Good for him.
they weren't going to keep it a racetrack. So he actually lost money by selling it to someone who was going to keep it a racetrack.
Mhm.
Good for him.
So the new owner that bought the track was the one that brought us the generator. And I mean, everything down to like bottles of water and Gatorade to make sure that we were able to, he actually messaged me on Facebook the next day and said, "Did you guys make it to the track?" And I said, "Yeah, we locked up your gate. We shut the generator and the lights off. And we could not have done that without you." It was unreal. It's like anything I've ever experienced.
That's so cool.
Yeah, that's my local track is Byron.
Dude, and the track was great. I think like the track's kind of cool. It kind of goes downhill and then back uphill. The track was great all day, but like when he brought out that stuff for us to do, it just was like, so my local track is Norwalk. So I live with like the Bader family. And as I think everyone knows that's I think what every track should hold their precedent to is Norwalk. And that guy was amazing. It was just like being at Norwalk. It was
How cool.
Yeah, and they've got all kinds of stuff planned for this year, getting into some new like no prep events, and
that's really
one of my buddies is the general manager now with the new owner, so they're gonna do a lot of good stuff. I'm excited.
What a super great guy. I mean, honestly, the best of people. They were fantastic.
That's cool.
Awesome.
Yeah. I mean, there with like a flashlight in between your teeth, like trying to work on a cylinder head out the car, like it's
Get your cell phone out, laying on the window, trying to get some light. Yeah.
Right.
Redhat, Scotty, you want to tell us some damage, carnage stories of your own? Because I know you've got a few.
Yeah, apparently the internet connection.
Oh,
right as he says it.
Right.
Right,
I think we. Oh, there he is. We
Yeah,
lost him.
So I've replaced the motor at the track.
Yep.
God, see what I mean? It's raining here too, so I kind of the same thing Narks has got going on.
Yeah. So you
You're
replaced
good
it.
now.
Yeah, you're good. Tell
Motor
us.
track. That was
Spoke too
Narks,
soon.
kick me out and I'll fix this again.
All right, man. I think some of the struggles with his is some earbuds would help for him. So I'll tell him that when he comes back in, because I think his speaker's trying to override it. So yeah, we've obviously torn up the golf cart, the Volkswagen golf cart that my brother drove in race week, or no, he road weeked that car after breaking his MG. Then he road weeked this little golf, and 1:30 in the morning, riding from Mid-America on race week, we were going back to Ponca City, ended up completely destroying a wheel bearing at, it was 1:30 or 2 o'clock in the morning. So for 30 miles, he drove about 12 miles an hour. That way, if the wheel came off, he wouldn't completely kill himself. So that was
Narks,
pretty interesting.
I got to know where's the Narks cart? What's going on with it? What are you doing?
Yeah, so that car is probably going to be given away maybe at race week. I had intended to do it at my event, the circuit, in April, but it needs a trans, and I've talked to Ryan Jans at PRI, and I think we're going to build a converter for that car that will make it easier for burnouts. So that's the biggest problem with that stupid car, is like it's got a stock converter and a GT45 turbo, and so it's like this real slow tire spin until you start making any kind of power. So we're going to put a converter in it, I think, and then that car is the giveaway car for the Narcoleptic Customs channel. I think my plan would be to, maybe wine and dine Matt and be like, hey, I'd like to give this car and a race spot away, something like that. So we'll figure something out. I don't know.
I know a guy.
Yeah. I figure you can maybe help me with some of that. So
Adam has all the influence, it seems, here.
Well, that car cut its teeth on race week. That was one of the biggest reasons we bought it, and then just started cutting it away. If everybody has it, it's a Grand Marquis with basically no body and roll cage. So,
and it's the best is the cardboard door that you fashioned onto it with like the cellophane window, so you wouldn't just die.
Hey, dude, it was 35 degrees that morning when I left. It was cold.
Yeah.
I drove it 4 hours one way in 30-degree weather. I built a cabin out of cardboard and had to turn the heat off at one point. So,
well, you drove it all the way to Cletus in cars, which was like 11 hours, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it wasn't cold then. That was May. Yeah. We put 1,000 miles on it that weekend. We put 10,000 miles on that car in a year. So
nice.
it hasn't been out since September of 2021 when I broke it on race week. So I feel bad. My kids give me shit about it all the time that it's not running. They're like, it's been in the garage. They're like, tires still have air in it. They're like, let's go kill these tires. So it's coming. It's coming. I promise.
Good.
Well, that's parenting correctly, dude. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. I'm telling you, those kids love that thing. Taking them to school and all that kind of stuff. So it was always a blast. So, what else we need to talk about, guys? I feel like we've had some fun conversation.
Throw that fishing line out there. Well, I mean, like hell, man. I told you, we can do this as long or as little as you want. I've got all kinds of crap that we can talk about regarding Sick Week. I literally have spent 5 hours today just working on signage for one of our stops. So
sweet. Well, let me ask you this: do you think this year has an opportunity to beat the all-time record from Lutz?
Here we go. Ironically, I talked to Tom Bailey about this, I want to say a week ago. And the funny thing is that, he's already had to go through his once because he took it down there, ran it, had some problems with it. And he's already had to get the turbos refreshed and had to do some other things. So there's times where I sit there and say, yeah, we feel like we should be at that point by now, especially in better air. And Tom went 2 6-0 passes at
on drag week.
He also had 2 days when he didn't do very well. So, my thought at this point, I hate saying this, but I'm probably going to say no. I'm going to say
appreciate that.
I'm going to go ahead and go with yes. I don't see why not. The car's relatively well sorted, and we got the shorter drives. And I think with the air, I think the odds are kind of in his favor. I say yes. I think it's going to happen.
Yeah, and
I like the optimism. I'm being honest based on what I see.
Yeah,
I get it.
Schroeder has said that he has that car has five capabilities, and then Stefan Gustafson the other day was in one of the Facebook groups, and I made a comment, and he said that his car should be a second faster. So I don't know if that.
Okay, wait. So you're going from 650s to 550s?
I don't know. I don't know if it was maybe 7.
Maybe he meant a half a second. Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe some of the English got translated wrong there, but that car definitely has more power and is going to be faster. So it's going to, that's 3 cars that are low 6 capable,
And I'll throw Steve Morris in there too, because when you look at how much he's turned his up, but then here's the problem that Steve Morris faced just based on what I know about his car. His car was just on Fuel Tech's dyno and he burnt the transmission up in it. So
like yesterday,
that car weighing 3,600 pounds has a whole lot of problems that all these other cars that you named don't, because he's probably 400 to 600 pounds heavier than these guys, which in the grand scheme of things doesn't seem like a lot, but when you're pushing that much power, nothing really is going to hang on to that.
Yeah. Eric Yost is a bad
and he had the same problem last year.
So you want to jump from one to the other. That was something that I wrote about not too long ago. Was last year we saw not only the first, but we saw 2 cars average in the sixes on radials. That had never been done before.
Yep.
That was
Right.
Mikael Borgren and Rick Prospero. Now, unfortunately, Rick Prospero won't be back this year. And here's a completely shocking thing. I talked to him earlier today. Nobody will buy that RX-7 as a roller for $35,000, which
So,
blows
dude,
me away.
Well,
So
hell,
I'll let
Michael
Cat up.
Borger or Mike Westberg had his S10 for sale for 25, and nobody would bid on,
And
or 30.
from what he told me, he has a couple people on the line, but he hasn't gotten anybody to buy it yet. So,
Yep.
I will tell you this without jumping too far off of Eric Yost. Prospero now, because nobody's bought his car, he's all invigorated and he's building another engine. So he
That's
won't be
great.
back in time. He won't be back in time for this, but would we see him at a Drag-N-Drive later this year with more power? I'm not saying it's out of the realm of possibility. So,
And that car's a big Chevy, right?
yeah, it was a 540 with twins, and I think the quickest run he had got out of it was 671.
Okay.
And he wants to move to something a little lighter, a little longer. He wouldn't tell me what it is. And I don't even know. I told him to swear me to secrecy, and he still wouldn't tell me. But to jump back to Yost, the thing that I was probably most looking forward to, because I'm a Leaf Spring guy, is looking at Eric Yost versus Doug Cook, because both of those cars have the possibility of going in the sixes, and that would be the first Leaf Spring car to ever do it on a Drag-N-Drive. Now, the problem, of course, with all this is Doug Cook's car ended up being, bigger project than he expected. So he ended up, he's going to take Pumpkin Spice, the car that he originally started Motion from.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's cool. I'm glad. I'm sorry to see that the Nova's not going to be done, but Yost is burning the midnight oil, man. I mean, he just is getting that thing back together. And I would probably be willing to bet a pretty good amount of money that if anybody could run sixes on stock suspension, that it would be him.
That's
sure.
awesome. That's awesome. Let's let Redhat Scotty tell the story of Carnage, because, bro.
Hey guys, I think we're gonna hop off real quick.
Yeah,
Guys, hey, thank y'all so much for
Thank you.
coming on and
Good
hanging
meeting
out.
you
I
guys.
really
Thank you.
appreciate it.
thank you
Good to
guys.
meet
Yeah,
you guys.
thanks.
And we'll be talking to you guys soon. Thank you
All
very
right,
much.
Jimmy,
For
come
sure.
find me, bud.
Good
We
luck,
will.
everybody.
Good luck next week if anybody's racing. Thank y'all.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, so
Wait a second, Adam. Don't we need luck announcing? We're going to be tired, dude.
Yeah, I mean, you know this. We work our ass off on this deal, man. Announcing every day. I mean, yeah. It's we need as much luck as we can get.
Yep. Redhat, the floor is yours, dude. You've waited long enough.
oh no, I'm sorry I put you guys through all that.
That's all good.
So hopefully you can hear me now. Does it work all right?
Yep, we're good.
Yep.
All right. So I know what Narks was wanting to do. He wants to hear the time I put a motor in the track at Tulsa.
Yeah.
So we showed up. It was race week 2020. We were like the first 10, 15 cars down. Made it past the stripe, so I could turn the slip in, and I did. I remember I handed it to Adam, and I said, "Hey, I need a motor." So we got a hold of a guy, Dustin Sullivan, down there around Tulsa, hooked us up with a motor, and me, the dude, Noah, and our buddy Nate spent the entire night putting that thing in. It was brutal. We ended up melting the entire ringland off of it, tore it all down, put my heads on it, my cam on it, and got it going.
Yeah.
And nothing else went smooth after that.
But you guys, that short block was in the car to 10-0s, right?
It's still sitting in the car currently.
Yeah, but it's not going to stay there.
No.
No. So what Adam may not know is the rickety rocket's coming back, and it's going to be a real rocket this time.
Good.
So there won't be a race to the nines anymore between Redhat Scotty and Tom Stark.
He'll probably still beat me there, but
Yeah. Redhat's
yeah,
going to
that's
take it
awesome.
right to the eights. Yeah. So,
my goal is to run 880s
Cool.
this year. Whether or not it happens in the mountains for the 2.0, we'll see. But
Yeah, that's a bit of a bummer for the race week event, doing it back at high altitude again, which is normally we get all of our fast runs as Narks will tell you in all the historical data. We don't go fast on the mountain, man. It just doesn't happen. And all the altitude. I mean, we got 2 tracks. Pueblo is I believe 5,400 feet actual altitude, and Bandimere is 5,800 feet actual altitude. So we don't light the world on fire, unfortunately, on the race week stuff. So, but to make up for it, dude, it's going to be wicked because we're going late September, early October. Yeah. The leaves will all be changing. That it's going to be a whole different deal, man. It's going to be pretty sweet.
The media people for race week, Rocky Mountain Edition, they're going to end up with some bangers, man.
Oh yeah. It's going to be so good.
Yep.
It is going to be so good.
We're super excited to go. I mean, this is going to be a blast. We did Rocky Mountain 2018, and it was so much fun. So going back is going to be a blast. I'm super excited for it, ready to do it, but I don't know if I can hang the time I want to hang.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, and I mean, we'll have Great Bend and Kearney will be as low as we get, but still, I mean, I think it's 1,600 kind of feet sort of area, and whatever.
Well, so Jason Schaefer, one of my favorite people in the whole entire world, asked about trailers, and I can't wait. We're going to do an entire bit. My plan is to really talk to a ton of trailer and basket people. Yard selling is crazy. I don't know why anybody would do that. I don't know why you would want to pack and unpack your car every day, Redhat Scotty. But listen, so
I've actually done all 3.
Trailers is the only way to go, man. Trailers
Agreed.
is the only way to go.
I've had
Morris is actually ditching his because he said that with him and his son is racing his own car this year, to try to unpack everything, unbolt the rack, then do it again. He just said, I had enough of it. So, yeah, he's bringing a trailer this year, too, even though I will go on record. And the photo of that car at PRI with all the presents upstairs in the roof rack was pretty cool looking.
Now, okay, Alex.
Yeah,
your car does look good with the bikes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Adam.
Yeah, I had the basket in drag week 14, my first one. I got the basket, and I was like, man, this is going to be fine. It's all I need. I rented a U-Haul trailer on day 2 and threw that basket in the U-Haul trailer because it sucked. By the time all the weight got to the springs, it had such a huge lever on it. The thing was just, I mean, it was like low riding down the highway, and the headlights were pointed way up in the air, and the thing was handling like total dog shit. And I was like, this is stupid, man. I'm going to go get a trailer.
Yeah.
No, the trailer is the way, man. It is absolutely the way. And a lot of people have some really good trailer things going on. I'll tell you what, if you want to see the coolest trailer on Drag-N-Drive, it's Bill Armstrong's trailer, dude.
Oh, I love it. Paint match to the car. Like
he's got the same paint as the wheels are the same. It's got the same hubcaps. But the killer thing is it's got the full top is solar, and it charges the battery inside of the thing.
Yep.
You can open the lid to a bunch of different angles to include all the way back, so it's a workbench.
Yep. Yeah, and he's pretty smart. I don't know if you know that about him.
He's an aircraft mechanic, dude. And so he had that thing built, and it is the nicest trailer I've ever seen. But like a ton of guys are bringing new trailers. Cletus has a new trailer this year. Doug Cook's got a new trailer this year. It's kind of the thing now. Everyone's just getting these nice trailers built, and they're making them nice, and they're making them perfect for Drag-N-Drive, and they're putting brakes on them so they can bring them up to race week.
They're built for Drag-N-Drive.
I like Dennis's Dennis Taylor with all the sides that open up, and he's got everything organized right there. That's nice.
No,
it's crazy. Take that thing and tear it completely down. And then from what he's learned, completely redo it to, like you said, where it's more usable. And a half an hour here, half an hour there adds up when you get to the end of the week.
Yeah. It totally does. And this stuff's like a marathon. And like Redhat will tell you, I mean, if you're wasted and you're junk by day 3, dude, you're not having fun anymore. It kind of sucks, to be honest. You're kind of dragging ass through the rest of it. But like you said, you save 30 minutes here, 30 minutes there. Man, that stuff adds up. And by the end of the week, it could be the difference between you taking home a check or you going home with nothing in your hand.
Yep.
Yeah, so we've done all three, and it always depends on which event we do. Being from Kansas City, when we went to Sick Week last year, trying to pull our trailer all the way down there was going to be a logistical nightmare, so we went basket. But I can say the dude has a couple ideas and plans for the new trailer that we're going to take this year. I can't wait for him to get started on it because it's going to be really cool. Be one to
Derek,
look at.
The dude is Redhat's dad.
Yeah.
They call him the dude. So.
Yeah. Jason, hey, Eric, will you bring that back up? Yeah, you and I can definitely interview some racers at the track for a tour of trailers. If you guys don't know, Jason Schaefer is one of the coolest dudes you'll ever meet. And Angel is the most beautiful dog, not only in looks, but in spirit as well. So I want to answer a couple questions here real quick. 7AD Speed and Custom asks, is there going to be live coverage of Sick Week this year?
The answer
Yes.
is yes. It will be on Tom Bailey's YouTube channel, and you actually can go out and find the links. They're already pre-set up for every individual day.
Yep. I saw those posted today. And then I will say that the Drag-N-Drive team, I mean, we're going to be live streaming, obviously not to that level, but from route stops and running around the pits and talking to people and all that kind of stuff too. So there's a lot of social media presence there this year as well. So there'll be a ton of coverage.
1320 video will be there as well, and they do awesome work.
Yep.
All, in my opinion, equally important, and all of them bring their own unique flavor, and that's what's going to make this a really great deal.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a ton of fun to see what comes out of this and what that leads to with more and more events, which we'll talk about in just a second.
If this is your first time at a Drag-N-Drive, if you're going to be there next week, one of the best things with any of these is the media coverage. You'll get professional, professional photography the entire week. And that includes both the racetrack and on the road. And then all the coverage that you're going to get. Pack a little extra cash, and a bunch of these guys will have a bunch of this stuff for sale. And a lot of them are on their own dime. Please support the photographers and all the folks that are out there doing it. And I mean, they're out there all day, hanging out and watching every pass like we are too. But at the end of it, they just leave with a bunch of photos that you guys steal. So
thousands of photos.
Show them some love, man.
Yep. I was talking to Chris Dorey, actually called me earlier to see, I'm going to purchase from like a photo package from him of some racers that I have on the list that I'm following. And so he's going to be there. I've talked to Jesse Fox from 3G Video. Chris Story is Chris Story Photo, 3G Video, Jesse Fox. Patrick Melson, who is a big Roadrunner Media. He's a big Rocky Mountain. They're a Rocky Mountain supporter. And then there was one other channel I was following along too. I'll think of it in a minute, but I posted them all up, guys.
Derek, is KWS coming back out?
Yep, Wayne Stewart and his 11-year-old kid who have done it.
Dude.
Yeah.
They are badass.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, Adam's speaking from experience of being at my event, but this guy has a full-time job, and his kid really has an eye for it, and all he wants to do is be out there and be around it. And that's, again, the kind of thing that I can remember growing up with my dad. Yeah. And we need more people like that. We need to support more people like that.
Well, and the cool part is, like, here's what folks at home, and if you're watching this, tell your spouse or significant other that you want a photo package, because, guys, you don't have time to take these cool photos. Like, you just don't. No. You'll take your route. Here's the biggest problem that I run into on my side with artwork for these posts is if I'm looking for a shot of Adam Dorey's Malibu, I immediately go to his page while I look at his personal photos. Dude, the bumpers are cut off in half of them. Not necessarily Adam's. Adam has a good eye, but
it happens.
Redhat Scotty's photos are the same way. There's a mirror cut out. It's like, just give me the whole car, man. I need the whole car in that shot so I can put it in this poster.
And it's just one of those things. Like you think you'll be taking a ton of photos, and then you'll get home and you'll be like, I don't have any photos of this and that and this.
There's 30 photos here. What am I talking about? Yeah.
What the hell, man? Like I took 12 photos.
Us media guys. I got 700.
And now what?
Willwood Adventures was your other one.
Wildwood Adventures. That's right. That's right.
And let me throw in there
Richard
that
Crosby.
And let me throw in there, not only is Motion Raceworks bringing out an entire trailer full of spare parts, but Michael Pryka will be out there shooting every single day as always. And that's another guy who's a real enthusiast in this.
Gangster.
He's getting to do the kind of stuff that we all dream of. So trust me when I tell you, he'll have really good pictures out there.
Oh, man. Mike makes my car look amazing.
Yeah, that's right. That's
and
right.
I mean, if you've ever seen your car, and I mean, you know this, that's saying a lot, dude. I mean,
dude,
that's not a dig on you. That's just, I mean, we've all seen
it's named
car.
the Rickety Rocket.
my car up close, it's definitely like a 25 footer, but Mike makes it look like a show car.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I mean, I'll tell you guys. So, Redhat Scotty, part of our deal with the circuit is the shirt cars are always the fastest 1/8 mile and 1/4 mile cars from the year before. Well, Redhat Scotty was our fastest from 2022. So I always ask him, hey, what picture did you like most of your car? And his was a Mike Pryka shot. And so I messaged Mike. I'm like, hey man, can I buy this, or how do we get this from you? And so, Motion donated that picture for us to use for our artwork.
Awesome.
And,
that's super cool.
Yep.
Which, hey, Narks, do you have that pulled up, what that time was at the circuit?
It was a 10.6 average, I think, something like that.
So that means anybody can do that.
Yeah. Hey, I've always said a 10-second car is fast. And hey, for the first time in history, the 10-second grouping has been larger than the 12-second grouping for all of Drag-N-Drive for 2022. So it's going to be cool to see what we get in 2023. Oh, let me ask you guys this, because this is a fun one. What's going to be the fastest 100 bump number coming out of Sick Week? It was 10-1. It was 10-18 for Joel Clark in 2022. You think we're going to be 970s? That's my number, is 970s.
I think maybe even a little faster than that. I think maybe mid 950s.
Wow.
955, something like that. There's just too many. There's too many people bringing too many 850 and faster cars. I think it's going to move that bump.
Yeah,
for sure. I agree.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty awesome. I think this will be the first year, like we had a 9-second racer list for 2022. I think we'll, for the fastest 100, all racers, for the whole year, I think we're going to end up with an 8-second list as well, like maybe a 850 and above list or something like that. So there's a lot of 850 guys coming too. I love that class. I love the street race class. That's my jam. There's like Aaron Schaefer, he's a big Rocky Mountain guy.
He's bringing that silverback car, and Derek wrote an awesome thing on that car as well, man. But
dude, the 850 classes are just becoming a friggin' those are literally like, if you don't run 855 or better on the first day, just park it.
You're done.
And you're saying like 8505, not like 855, like 8505. You better be it's wild, man.
Okay, so I'm gonna play something different here. So let's do this. Okay. We talk about how hard it is to hit 850 and how hard that class is. If you were gonna pick somebody to win 275 street race and then 6 street race, which are both 850 capped, who would you pick to win them?
Well, I'm literally following 3 people. So 4 people: Dustin and Steve Trance.
Good choice,
folks. Yep. 05 Mustang Turbo LS. That car was literally built for that class. Aaron Schaefer.
One hot rod drag week before with it.
Yep. Third guy in history run 8500. That was kind of cool. Yep. And then Jay Blanchard and Brian Acton. Brian Acton has the gray 70 Nova from Drag Week and Midwest Drags. He won Midwest Drags with an 8516. And if he had been able to turn in 5 passes like these other events, their average would have been a 8508. So, I mean, those guys have that car freaking wild. So now it took them 20-something passes that week. I don't know if we'll see Mark Campbell down here at Sick Week, but he came out of the gate one and done pass day 1 with an 8503 at Drag Week, and then day 2 is 8506. So he's a comp cams guy, has a ton of technology in that car, and super, super cool. Twin turbo LS deal. So I love the 850 stuff. So those guys, they get all my feels.
those are all good choices. I mean, again, you
look at the fact that here.
Sorry, Matt. I think I know who you're going to say, Derek. I think I got your pick. Who you pick one? Or
no,
two
you say you know who it is, so let's see.
I think your pick is going to be Matt Lamphere.
I thought he was going to run 235. I thought he was going to run Rowdy Radial, but
okay, all right.
I mean, he ran Outlaw 235 last year, but it was a quarter mile class. So
right.
I don't know. That's a really tough call because Matt and, in my opinion, Matt, Aaron, Richard Flint, and
I didn't think about him.
Aaron are all in that mix of guys who I would very easily put up there in the 850 class. Now,
I didn't think about
the
Richard
interesting
Flint.
thing is that if you look at who won the 2 850 classes last year at Sick Week, that was William Luwan and Alex Corella. Now, Alex has a little bit of history on Drag-N-Drives, but Luwan, who actually has helped Alex build his car, is more of a weekend warrior guy. He hadn't done a Drag-N-Drive. So for not one but two Florida guys to win it and shut out the rest, I think was kind of interesting. Not only that, but Corella did it on 17s. Show me somebody else who's done it on 17-inch wheels.
Yeah, that was that beautiful Mustang, right, with the pony wheels on it?
The red one.
Exactly.
Yep.
Now, I will let the cat out of the bag a little bit and tell you that Corella has been testing on 235s.
Yeah.
Doesn't necessarily mean he's going to run them. He's had them for a year and made 0 passes on them until this year. So I'm not sure if he's going to do that because, as we already discussed, Rowdy Radial is going to be a bloodbath to begin with. And I think that, honestly, I mean, it's really hard to go against Devin. Even though he had trouble last year, it's kind of hard to go against him as the favorite. But then
he has completely changed his entire setup.
On 235s.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Devin. If Devin comes out and makes the hits he has been, it's going to be a race for second.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
That car is insane.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what is it? 110, 118 millimeter single. So it's
118. Yeah.
Yeah. It's bigger than some people's zip code.
Yeah. Alex said he's doing 235. Dude,
okay, but notice he wrote LOL at the end of it, so you never know with Alex. He might change his mind because here's the thing: he's got 3 different setups. He's done well on not only the 17-inch ponies that he ran last year, but then he's got the big and little setup on welds and 275s, but then he's got the 235s. So honestly, knowing Alex, I don't know which way he's going to go. I mean, he might make a game time decision, but he told me he was considering going to 235s earlier this year, but I don't figure it's me letting the cat out of the bag at this point.
Yeah.
Well, and dude, big shout out to Tom and everyone at SICK for bringing Rowdy Radial, dude. That class is badass, and it's going to be super duper fun. It's the first time that we've seen it at SICK Week this year. We've had it, since we kind of started Race Week, Rocky Mountain Race Week, and it went from nothing. We had like 3 or 4 cars the first year we did it. To dude, it's a fist fight at every single one of those, dude, and it has been super duper fun watching those guys hang the tongue out at the 660, and Tom kind of did the same thing that we did and said, guys, everything is going to show quarter mile times, and we're not really read between the lines, guys. So
one thing that was really interesting in Tom's interview with Cooper Bogetti at Bogetti Studios podcast. If you're not listening to that, do that. It's pretty good. He said that now so if you are a 235 car, you are not teched to faster than 850. You cannot turn in your 1/8 mile slip if your quarter mile pass is still faster than 850. So you better get through the 1/8 mile and then on the brakes, boys.
Yeah, I mean that's just. I mean, again, that's a racer running a race. The rules are what they say, and they're also not what they don't say.
Yeah.
So just, I mean, you can figure it out for yourself. I don't need to write it on a piece of paper, but that's
do not write that on a piece of paper.
That is super awesome for doing that, guys. And so that's super cool. And all the Rowdy guys I know appreciate that so much because they like to go out there and let the tongue hang out of the thing, dude. And,
that's what Scott Brown said last week. Yeah, it's what he said last week. That's why he's going 235 because he's like, I want to make a hard, clean hit in the car every time because he's like, I'm tired of running 848.
Right.
He's like, you can't turn that in, so you make so many extra passes on the car.
Yeah, dude. Exactly. So
Alex is nuts.
that class is going to be super duper cool, and it's. I mean, we called it Rowdy Radial, and it became its namesake.
Yeah.
It's, like I said, it's super cool that Sick Week's bringing it in, keeping the name even, and it's going to be super cool to watch that campaign this year.
Yeah.
Jared brings up a very interesting point about racers finding the gray area. Some people, there are two different kinds of racers. Racers that read the rules and racers who interpret the rules.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, Jared, get to work on your car. Quit messing around on the YouTube.
I hope he's in the shop wrenching on stuff while he's listening to this.
Yeah.
And then Jay Blanchard said 6th Street's going to be intense. Lots of guys who can run down on the 850X threshold, who can string them together next week will be the test.
It's going to be sweet,
right.
dude. Every class is going to be sweet. I think there's really we're set up for amazing competition in every class, dude. And I mean, and then you add in DYO, so you can bring whatever the hell you want.
And that's one thing I didn't get a chance to talk about with Wes today was that, like, that class is how people get hooked.
Right.
A guy that has a 1230 car doesn't have to race down to 12.0 index or slow down to 13.0 index. You know,
Right.
Greg Jones, a guy that's a huge Rocky Mountain guy, has won both 12 and 13.0 index classes, has to adjust his car to get there. Well, this DYO class is great because these guys that are bracket racers, I think that's our next huge bump in car count from people is these bracket guys that are so fast, but they know that they're so consistent. They know their car is going to run a 1278 every time. So they put their dial in at 1278. Well, hell, one day they're off and they run a 1279.8, and they win it all on a 001 difference.
Yep.
So,
you look at how close those classes were last year, and it's exactly what you talk about. I mean, like, you look at Brian with the little wheel standing Chevette, and the fact that car has done a little bit of everything from bracket racing to Drag-N-Drive, and that's an 8-second car. He could very easily jump into something else and possibly get a top 3 finish, but instead he's choosing to do something where, again, like you said, it highlights your consistency, and that makes it where you don't care about anybody else. You're just worried about yourself.
Yeah,
and
so
a carbureted E85 car too.
Yeah. And does coolest wheelies, man.
Oh yeah, I mean,
I think his wheelie bars would agree with that.
Right. It's square. It doesn't know which way is forward. Actually, so it's just kind of that's what makes it fun. Is when it comes down, you don't really know what's going to happen.
Yeah. I will tell you that not in a car with that short of a wheelbase, but I have done a wheelie where it has actually drugged the cutoff switch, which thankfully was push off, not pull off. And when you shift early and it's like this, and all you can see is night sky, you're like, okay, if I lift, this is going to hurt a lot worse than if I just stay in it and let it come down on its own. And to watch him do that every single track was like, okay, dude, you either don't have something right upstairs or you like the party. And I think I'd like to go with option
or
B.
a little from column A and a little from column B. I mean,
I think he mostly likes to party.
Yeah, I would say so.
Well, let me ask you guys this: what is your favorite class? And this is for everybody on here. What's your favorite class to watch?
Where do you want to start?
Yeah, Eric, you start. You tell us.
I think it's the 850. Like, I don't know. Like you had mentioned before, the 849, you start getting into the funny car cage, and that 850 class is, to me, that's the best street car.
Yep. Adam?
Stick shift, man.
There's so much carnage in stick shift, dude. There's so much. Somebody does something wrong and they're breaking stuff, and that's what's fun to watch.
That's part of the deal, man. That's part of it. You don't have there's no shock absorber in the drivetrain. It's just it's a light switch for the most part.
That's right.
Yeah, here we go. But wheelies, watching especially Guido and Armstrong duke it out on all the stuff that they go to. The stick stuff is just the jam. It's super fun.
Yep. Derek?
I would probably give a two-part answer on this. If I was going to say the class that I enjoy the most from either an announcing or a watching standpoint, it would have to either be stick or the 235 class, because I think those are going to be the most unpredictable, the most exciting to watch. You can't bank on anybody because you never know what's going to happen. There's so much that goes into the pot to make a good pass happen. For me personally, because it's the way I've built my car, I would stick with what Eric said. I would go with the 850 class because I feel like it adds a whole nother element into, okay, you've got probably 30, 40 cars easily that could run way under an 850. Now you have to be able to go in your notes and somehow dial this thing in on the first pass. Otherwise, now you're behind the 8-ball. You got to stay later while everybody else that's gotten their stuff down and one and done is packing up and leaving, and you're on your way to a late night, even if you didn't break anything.
Yeah, Jay Blanchard and Brian Acton know that 100%. I think they made Jay tell us in the comments, but I think it was 22 or 23 passes during drag week. So
my God.
You start doing the math, it's brutal.
I think the oil was probably a little warm at that point.
Yeah, Dustin and Steve Trance did the same thing. So it was wild. And then Mark Campbell ends up third and almost wins it. And I think he ran like 14 passes all week, something like that. So wow, pretty interesting. Redhat, Scotty, what's your favorite class?
I've really torn the 850 stuff. I love that class.
Yeah. And
then obviously the 235. That class is so much fun to watch, but I mean, 850 is just so cool. You know, those guys really getting on top of the number and running it.
Yeah. That's my class too. Because really, I feel like that car it could, like Jay or Brian's car in a parking lot looks like a really nice 70 Nova. Like, some old dude could cruise that thing with a small block Chevrolet in it, and you pop the hood and you're like, oh my God, it's a huge turbo, and this thing runs 790s when it wants to, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I think that class is my jam.
Yeah. Like, give you an example, because Adam, I remember this from last year because it's the one that I like watching, and it'll go into what you said you thought on my take, is watching the 235 class last year, where it was Matt Lamphere and Doug Cook separated by less than 100th of a second going into the last day. They were the last 2 of 3 cars to go down the track at Bradenton.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Adam and I are literally turned up to 10. Like, we're talking over each other because we're so amped and talking about like how big of a pass this means.
Yeah.
And Matt goes first, and he goes like 850 with a 2. And we're excited, and then like your heart just sinks for Doug, who's sitting in the water box going, okay, there goes my chance.
Yeah. Another part of that story though is Matt made 5 passes in like a 2-hour window to get to win that class for.
Oh yeah, he just kept hot lapping it.
Yeah, and it was nuts, man. I love that stuff.
Yeah, and what's funny is that I've gotten to know him better since then. And I've kind of like thrown the gauntlet out there because like he keeps bragging about like his color wheel and how many neons he has underneath the car. So every time he makes a pass, I keep throwing more at him. The last time I went up there, he threw out there, well, tell me what to do next. And I go, okay, your burnout and your pass has got to be at 2 different neon colors. And as soon as I said it, you could see his face drop like, oh, crap. So he actually gave the remote to his girlfriend, who's now his fiance, and had her change it because he goes, have you seen what I'm trying to do in that little tiny car between the burnout and starting line?
Yeah. So. Yeah. Turbo LS Miata for everybody that doesn't know what Matt drives. Mr. Mattman on Instagram. I love that car too. I can't imagine wheeling that little bitty car to, I think he ran a 789 or something like that, like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, see, 789 or 787, and he had been trying to get there, and it was to be fair, it was on a very cold Orlando racetrack. I mean, it was below 50 degrees, and he didn't even have his best 60 foot, but it trucked out the back door. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch this and then see what comes from this event into others. You know, are we going to see, because now guys will have the opportunity to tear their shit up at Sick Week and go make another event this year. We're used to, if you broke at some event, you had to wait a whole nother year to go to that. To go to drag
because
week,
they're all kind of stacked on top of each other, and if you don't have an entry already, then what are you going to do?
That's why you got to have multiple cars, gentlemen.
No, I fully agree with that. I'm all about it, man. I'm building 2 engines at the same time right now, so I'm super poor.
Dude, you got
let's pull
so
our
much money.
resources.
Yeah, you got so much money. Well, hey, let's talk about the no day of registration. Let's put it in context. There are more than 1,000 people on a wait list. Can't just advertise to come down and show up, because you're going to be in a lot of trouble. People are going to get turned away because you can't race that many cars. We talked about that earlier. It's a real struggle.
So Adam and I were both there, and my perspective on it is this: I can completely appreciate what Hot Rod Drag Week, because again, it was the standard. It's what started from. They, the quote unquote, we've never turned anybody away.
Yeah.
When you're watching them try to tech cars until 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night, it's like, okay, the enthusiasm is starting to leave the building here, guys. Some people are not going to wait. We watched people pull up, and it's like, you don't want to penalize the people that are genuinely having issues getting there. They're driving through snow, or they, had problems on the road, or whatever it is. But yet, meanwhile, you got all these other people that want to get in. And so, I don't know if it's the perfect solution, but I get it, because Tom is looking at it similar to what you talked about with events taking from each other. If you're willing to at least accept criticism, or at least look at it from an outsider perspective, and realize what you can do to make things work better, make things a better experience for everybody that participates in it, then why wouldn't you do it? You might catch a little bit of flack. You're never going to make everybody happy. But why not do it? Heck, Hot Rod Drag Week pulled stuff from what Tom did, and they stopped running cars in classes, and they started running them by prep and groups. And then Tom pulled the Roddy Radio class. So it's the same thing. You have to be able to appreciate what people bring, other events can bring to the table, to try to make it where it's the best balance.
Well, and it's the rising tides raise all ships kind of deal. What everyone's kind of doing is awesome, but yeah, dude, it's race week. I believe 21. Matt turned away the first people that have ever been turned away from a Drag-N-Drive. And at the time it was race week and drag week, and that's what you had. That was your options. But it just gets to a point where it's not. If you let in everybody, like you said, 1,000 people on a wait list, and you let everybody in, and then everyone gets one pass, and then talking back to that 850 class, you get a guy that goes 847.
Yeah,
he's
out.
What do you do?
Yeah, he's out.
Come on, man.
Well, any class car, Adam. If you got a guy that's in 10.0 goes 990.
Right. So what? Are you gonna go the rest of the week? Probably. You've got the week off. Whatever. But that's not the idea. That's not the spirit of it. That's not the soul of it. The idea is to have fun. We're all there to have fun. And I get it. You want to get in, and that's going to be fun. But what's more fun is getting in, fighting for your spot, kind of thing, if you will. Getting that spot, and then going with a couple hundred of your closest friends to something cool. And if you don't get in, again, you don't get into that one. There's 20-something events, man. Go sign up for one. Go do one, and keep pushing to get into the one you really want to get into. But you just
exactly.
Floodgates.
That's the thing. Just go for the one that you want to go to. And then as far as the day zero thing, Drag Week set a precedent. Whatever. They always let people in. I know Matt did multiple times.
For a bunch
but as big as these events are now, we just can't do that.
Yeah.
There's way too many people on the wait list trying to get in. So if all these people showed up, we'd have 450 cars.
Yeah. And that would be brutal. It would be brutal to try and get that many cars.
The track staff's not ready for that. Dude, it's a lot. There's a lot that goes into this that you kind of see from the back end that I never knew before. but like concession stands don't have enough food to feed 900 people plus spectators. Like there's a ton of stuff that comes into it, that there's just the logistics of it, trying to get everyone involved. Unfortunately, guys, there's a breaking point and there's a limit, and like race weeks is lower than sick week and drag week and all those, because literally if you go to race week, dude, it's June, and a couple of volunteer friends of hers that basically run that whole thing. Like Matt's just getting yelled at and running around and kissing babies and shaking hands, but like 3 ladies pretty much run the entire event. So,
well, even like checkpoints, like you don't have enough space at checkpoints to have that many people show up.
We've done enough events in the past that even when we did drag week a few times, there was so many people at the one car wash that one year that the guy was mad and like trying to throw everybody out. So I mean, if you added 100 more people on top of what he was already dealing with, it would have been insane.
Yep.
So
I get it, guys. I mean, everyone wants to get in on one of these, and again, like kind of like Derek was saying, you're never going to make everybody happy. But at the same time, the people that do show up and they do it right, especially, we owe it to them to give them the best show that they can get.
Well, and I think what we'll see moving forward is stuff like we talked about earlier, where you're almost using these regional events. Like, I mean, here's a great example. You have the circuit in Joplin, Missouri. You have Cruise and Lose in Lincoln, Nebraska, and you have King of the Open Road in Oklahoma City in May. Those are literally like 7 weeks for 3 events. Go do those, finish all 3 of those, and then if you don't get in, plead your freaking case. I mean, like, plead your case to Matt. Hey, man, I know it sold out, but dude, I finished these events. Here's my cool car. Please, if I show up day of, can I maybe get a chance? At the end of the day, most of the promoters for these events are car guys. They want to see cool, fast cars. And, will that be the new future? Are we going to have are there minor league teams for these big events? Because the top 3 cars from every event, blah, 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 get early access, whatever, it's going to be really cool to see how that is.
For sure.
Yeah. From what I believe I was told this year, I want to say that about 65% of the field for sick week is returners. So
that's awesome.
On one hand, that's good, but I know people, for example, that bought their way onto sick ward and got on the wait list, and in the last week, because now people are realizing I'm not going to get the parts, I'm not going to get it done, and they moved off and they're ecstatic as heck, so like you said, I mean, if you take Tech-In Day and you take it from a 14 to 16 hour day and you shrink it to 10 to where everybody can have dinner and get to bed at a reasonable hour for once, then that, in my opinion, is the way to go.
I think you meant to say for the last time of the week.
I'm trying to make it seem optimistic. I'm not going to squash it immediately. We want people to still come.
And if you've got folks watching that have never signed up and you didn't get in, always get on the wait list. That's the way. Don't just show up. Get on the wait list. Do it the right way. And honestly, there are pluses to getting in on the wait list because you don't pay the money up front, y'all. Yeah. When they call you, you pay your money and then you go. So you're not out the money from the guy that has signed up and can't make it. There's advantages to it. So sorry, Scotty.
So with what I'm saying, if you guys don't get into one of these, get signed up for road week, sick week, go experience, and then get on the wait list immediately after.
Yeah.
And then if you still don't get in, you don't get off the wait list, still come out and do road week, sick, the sick ward, I guess is what it is. But come out either way, and then when you get there, there still might be a chance that guy didn't show up, and you can hop off of road week or sick ward and get into the big show.
Because you're already on the wait list, you're already there with a car that's ready to go. I mean, that's 100% true.
Yeah, and you're already going to have a good time and run the route and see all the sights and hang out with the people. So take that chance.
Yeah, and And the other side of that too is like it's a real good shakedown.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
absolutely.
Oh, there's nothing better than putting the road miles on it for sure.
Yeah.
The drag racing is the easy part. It's the road that gets you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And again, if for the folks that are still watching, if you are attending Sick Week, you better be driving your shit tomorrow to work. Like even if it's raining.
Oh yeah.
Like a lot of
Oh, yeah.
people are like, oh, I'm not going to drive. It's raining. No, you better get your ass in it.
Right.
And
It might be
cruise it.
raining in Florida, yo.
Yeah, that's right.
Also, the other thing you should be doing is working out of your trailer and or toolbox right now.
Yeah.
And you should have been doing that for about the last 2 to 3 weeks, because the one piece that you need that you're going to leave in your toolbox because you have been working out of your toolbox, you're going to need it. Odds are good.
Guaranteed you're going to need it. Good story about that is Travis Deertool with the blue square body 4x4 truck.
Dearly.
Deer, whatever. How the hell you say his name?
Yeah, I screwed his name up for about 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah, great dude. Redhat Scotty helped him on the side of the road. All we needed was a oil sending unit socket. He had that at home. But dude, how long did we ask for that for people driving by?
Oh, me and the dude threw in the toolbox as soon as we got home.
Yeah.
In our little road box.
Yep.
I want to say this about, so it's time to determine the bottleneck at tech. A lot of times what I've seen is the window stickers. That is what seems to take a long time to get. Like the tech generally goes relatively fast. It's the actual registration. Because like you got to think, if there's 350 people signing up for a race, those 350 people have to go talk to, like in Adam talking about earlier, they have to go talk to June and her 2 friends. For Sick Week, it's going to be Tanya and her friends that help her with registration. Same at Drag Week, things like that. Like there's literally, the bottleneck is that. So they've got to check your name off the list. They've got to assign numbers to your car, put those numbers on your car, and then you've got to go do your final stuff. Like it just takes time.
Yep.
Yeah. And the thing is that from my experience from working for not necessarily Drag-N-Drive stuff, but working for organized events for 15 years, you can't just plug anybody into those situations because you're looking at a minimum, I would say 3 to 5 minutes per car to get them through there, because it's not a simple safety check. It's not a simple roadworthy check. And when you multiply that out, okay, let's add it. I'm going to play the devil's advocate here. Fine, let's add another inspector. Okay, so you're going to pay a guy or girl for another 6 days worth of work, and that changes your budget by a decent amount. And I know that because I put my own event together. And when you count that,
right. When you talk about how much time, when you talk about how much time that saves you on one day, the value to to money, it's not there.
Right. Everybody always forgets that. Oh, bring in somebody else. Okay, so the hotel rooms and the flights they're free, right? Those don't add up.
So every racer needs to pay an extra $25. Every racer needs to pay,
and that might be the kind of thing,
And and so then suddenly, oh my God, I can't believe it's $700 to do this event. What are you crazy?
Right,
what are you talking about?
Right. Tech is 8 hours.
Yeah, right. That's a full day. 8 hours if you're lucky.
Yeah. On that, I've done 1 or 2 of these things. We really need to get a lot of the racers to understand they need to have their gear out, insurance cards out, like everything that was already known about before you get in the damn tech line, have it ready. I don't know how many times I've seen people had to dig through their trailer to get their helmet out, their jacket out.
Be at your car. That happened. I was the dude.
That's a big one too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's like we could take care of a lot of this stuff if we would just, actually understand. Hey, when you pull the tech lanes, throw all your safety gear in the passenger seat. Have your insurance card on the dash. Have the tech card on the dash. Like all this stuff could speed this up. And also, don't tell the tech lady your entire life story.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Shut up.
And on top of that, guys, I mean, get up early. I know that it seems like that would be pretty normal, but like, dude, if they say tech starts at 7, there were guys in line at Sick Week last year at like 4:45 in the morning.
Yeah.
First in line,
Oh.
and they're done.
Hell, that was when I went to bed last year at Sick Week.
Yeah.
One thing
you
that,
can only streamline stuff so much. You can only do so much with it.
one thing that I think we'll see, like Midwest Drags does a lifetime registration number. So I think maybe if you bring the same car and there's been no major changes, like you don't suddenly go from an 850 cage to a 750 cage, pull into this lane over here. Okay, cool. You were good last year. Roll on,
Yep.
touch,
and like
headlights,
race
taillights,
week
blinkers.
Race week's doing that, so we're doing all the road stuff. Doing that
Yep.
via video. You can just send Matt a video. He double
Yep.
checks all your stuff works and gives you a thumbs up. And then you
Yep.
just have to go through your, NHRA tech. Doing the
Yep.
same thing if you go to Sick Week and you haven't made any changes on your car, then you get Fast Pass registration through directly to
nice.
NHRA tech. Same deal with that. So yeah,
Cool.
it once they start kind of working together
Yeah.
a bit, and I get they're doing a really, really good
Yeah.
job with a lot of that. But there's different staffs for all of them.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that's whatever,
Yeah.
and the classes are different. So
Yeah.
for a few of them, so unfortunately it can't be one for one. It can't be apples to apples. Sometimes you're going to buy an orange and get an apple, but yeah, I mean, the more of that stuff you do, and the more like Scotty was saying, the more you prepare yourself. I mean, act like you've been to a track once. Put all your stuff in the passenger seat so they can look at it real quick. Know where your you know your helmet better than anyone. Know where your SA 2015 in your helmet is so you can have it open for the guy. As much as you can do.
And your cutoff switch, make sure it works.
Make sure it works and actually shut the
Happened to me
freaking car
too.
off, man. I mean, But I mean, seriously, just basic stuff, and I get it.
Yep.
You're flustered. You got a lot of stuff going on, this and that and the other thing. And oh my God, we have to have the trailer on it. And I get it. But the better you are, the better everything else goes, man.
And hey, the other side of that too is like these people that are teching and checking you in and stuff, they're really fun and helpful at 8 a.m., 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 11 a.m. But by 4 o'clock in the afternoon, if your shit's not right, they're tired of hearing it. Yeah. they're like, oh my God, are you serious? Why are we even having these conversations?
The 25th time they've heard that day that my track
let me get it pulled up on my
track passes this.
Yeah.
Guys, I know it's late for you guys to fix your stuff at this point, but the NHRA rulebook is available for free as a PDF download on NHRA.com.
That is NHRAracer.com, Adam.
NHRAracer.com. That's what your car will be teched to. So you can still get that. It's free. You can look through it. And I know it's a little bit gobbledygook if you're especially not like a brand new.
Don't bring your logic in here.
Yeah, come on. Reading the rules before you show up. But no, for real. I mean, make sure your stuff is tight, guys. It's going to be teched by the NHRA book. There's a rule book for it. I mean, you can walk right through it. It's easy.
Yep. Guys,
absolutely.
We've went longer than I intended to, but I've had a ton of fun tonight.
This has been awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Here's what I'll tell everybody that has watched this whole thing and is listening on the podcast now. You can hear Adam and Derek's buttery voices next week on the Tom Bailey channel for the live stream for Sick Week.
Buttery,
I'm really excited to hang out with you guys. I got my media credentials yesterday or day before, so I'll be able to spend some time in some of the towers on some of the Wi-Fi, which will help. And then be looking at you guys through the glass and getting some funny pictures and making funny faces. So good luck next week. I know you guys are going to have a ton of fun, but good luck and really, give us a show, man. That's what we're looking for.
Oh, we will.
That's
There's
what we get paid for.
No doubt. I mean, here's the thing. We got the participants showing up. All we got to do is just open our mouth, and before we know it, it's over for that day, and we're on the road to the next one.
That's
right.
exactly right.
And I apologize in advance. I did take up announcing without pants, so you are 100% welcome, or I'm sorry, whichever works.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, I'm gonna need another booth.
Yeah. Will you guys be posting to your own pages, or will most of your stuff funnel through the Sick Week or Sick the Mag media team?
Well, with my job responsibilities, I will be trying to put up a new story every night on what's been going on.
Okay.
Honestly, I mean, if I could jump on my own social media, I'd love to, but at this point, I almost don't want to commit to that because I kind of have responsibilities to take care of. I know. Let's not bring responsibilities and drag week stuff in here. So.
Yeah, no,
Right.
No.
A little bit here and there. I mean, it's busy, guy. You know, it's tough. And trying to keep up with kind of everything going on, and you got guys yelling at you about saying their name wrong or their car wrong or something stupid like that. So, you know, here and there, I try to do what I can. And if it's like last year, and I'm not totally sure, but if it is like last year, I was taken off with Luke early, and then I had a kind of a chance to sort of look through what's been out there, and I can do a little bit on my own while we kind of cruise down the road and get stories from the road kind of thing. So maybe a little bit here and there, but yeah, I mean, dude, it's
mainly
busy.
find you guys on Sick the Mag.
Mainly Sick the Mag. That'll be the jam, especially for Derek. Like I said, with his, or like he said, with his articles. And I didn't know you were actually going to try to write an article a day. That's going to be awesome, dude.
Yeah, I can't wait because I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, you know me, I'm not going to have a problem talking about it, but actually sitting down and looking at a computer screen going, okay, I really would like to be looking at the landscape of what we're driving by and looking.
And you're like, my brain doesn't work anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's one of those too. After a day of announcing, you open up your laptop and it looks like the CompuLink timing system. Yeah, it's just all it is red and blue, and you're wondering where the ET and stuff is. And yeah.
So what I would tell you is between Tom Bailey actually told me today that he will have somebody who will just be doing stuff that will not be posted anywhere else. So you want to check out Sick the Mag's Instagram page. There will be stuff that'll be just posted by one person that he has hired just to do that this next week. Like I said, I'll have something up I'll try to have something up every day. And I'm sure Tom will be doing stuff on the road because Adam was in a lot of the daily videos that we were throwing up as well, like the recaps that went through some of the checkpoints and people that were broke down and what have you. So trust me, there will be, as Tom Bailey said, there will be a plethora of stuff about Sick Week to where you won't want to hear anything more about Sick Week when we're done.
That's awesome.
And don't forget, too, for the 3 people still listening and watching,
we got like 30-something people.
That's right. They're giving away the supercharged Tahoe.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Didn't even think about
Absolutely.
that.
So,
which will be on the cruise too. And I actually saw it today. It came through. So not only, you could win one or the other. You could win the supercharged Tahoe, or you could win $15,000 in cash. So if you want to finish your project, there you go.
Yeah, exactly. So I just found that on the Instagram. I was like, do I follow them on Instagram? I do. And then don't forget about the supercharged Tahoe or 15K.
Yeah. Yep. NHRA stock. Thank you for the conversation. Thank you for the comments tonight. Appreciate that.
That's
for sure.
That's Ed Hohenberg. I'll give him a little shout out.
Cool.
Man. Yeah, he's from Canada and NHRA stock. He was a stock eliminator racer with a stick shift Fox body Mustang, and he was NHRA record holder with that car for like 3 or 4 years. I don't think two straight, and then maybe a break and then another one. But he brought that car on Drag Week.
How cool,
which was super cool. So a stock eliminator stick shift Drag Week car. Very, very cool. Ed, thank you so much for tuning in, man.
Awesome.
Yeah, this has been a lot of fun, Mike. I really appreciate, Mike and Eric, I appreciate the invite. Obviously, this is like Adam and I talked about. This is something where we're all kind of living the dream, going after something that we only thought would be a hobby, and here we are doing it, daily, and it's awesome. So thanks for the invite. I do appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. This won't be the last time you're here. Adam knows that for sure. And for the folks that want to hear another 6 hours of story from Adam Dorey, we have 2 other podcast live streams on the Narcoleptic Customs channel, and that stuff is coming over to Drag-N-Drive Addiction as I can re-download it and edit some stuff in, add an intro for all this stuff. So I'm excited to do that. So, all right, guys, if you'll tell them bye, I'm gonna kick you guys off, and then we'll let Redhat Scotty do the same thing.
Thank you, gentlemen.
See you guys.
See you guys. Thanks.
Redhat Scotty, are you doing Sick Week?
No.
You're
I don't have the time off work this year to make that happen.
Right. So is the Rocket doing race week?
That's the plan as of right now.
Sweet. That's exciting, dude. I love that car. Again, you're bringing a brand new car. We're gonna start talking about the circuit after Sick Week. We have a lot of fun stuff. QPS, Questionable Performance Solution, has brought in a $1,200 challenge for the circuit Drag-N-Drive, which is the event that I host. Car included in $1,200. So this is pretty interesting. Eli Gould is currently holding the fastest time record right now because he's got.
I think he has the only car that runs.
So it's going to be exciting to him. Well, dude, tell them where they can find your stuff, man.
All of my stuff is the Questionable Performance Solutions on YouTube and Facebook. We're trying to get a little bit more active. You know, with winter and everything that's been going on, it's a little slow, but we're trying to pick back up. So
yeah, well, good, dude. I love it. And again, you guys will be on. We'll be talking the circuit. We'll be talking street and yeet, all that kind of stuff after Sick Week. So, dude, thank you for coming on tonight. I appreciate it. I know we had some struggles there, and probably it was mostly on my end, to be honest. So thank you for dealing with that and staying with it, man. We appreciate it. That's what you're here for. You're awesome.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
Later, dude.
Thanks.
Dude, I had fun tonight. I want to say thank you I'm going to point right to that person right there that's watching this right now. Thank you very much for all the comments. I don't know how many comments, 600 or 700 comments we had tonight. A lot of them we didn't show because it just wasn't fitting into the conversation. But guys, I want to say thank you for the comments. I want to thank you for the shares. I don't know how many shares we have across all of the social media pages, but it is a lot. So that's pretty awesome. You are going to help me with Sick Week stuff from Illinois.
Yep.
And I appreciate that for sure. The hard part is I don't think Eric knows really what he's getting into yet. There's a ton of content that's coming that will be coming from that event that will also lead into other events and all the conversations we have with people. So I want to say thanks for that. You can follow him, obviously, Motorsports Paparazzi. I love the name of the new channel, and it is legitimately everything motorsports related. Eric is planning a ton of events this year to attend and do pictures and media. I wouldn't say just pictures, but media and things like that for everywhere. And then, of course, your personal stuff, 815 LSX Swaps, is the two cars behind you, bro, like twin GT45 turbos on the Mustang.
Yeah,
and then
stick shift LS and twin turbo LS.
Yeah, so he's planning to take the 240 on 6 Summer as the media. And then I'm really leaning on him hard to change some things up on the Mustang, and we'll do maybe Midwest Drags or Nostalgia Nights. I think will be a good one to maybe bring the Mustang out on, as far as like it's a weekend event. Nostalgia Nights is in August at Bunker Hill.
Yeah,
would be a fun event to kind of cut your teeth on some Drag-N-Drive stuff. So
yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm excited. And if you guys haven't seen it, I was on the West Buck show today. I don't know if anybody saw that. If you heard me say that
right?
11 times, yes, I am the Drag Illustrated Drag-N-Drive Insider to West Buck, is what he told me today. So that was pretty cool to experience that. I want to thank my boss, if he's watching this at all, for letting me take about an hour and a half out of my work day to do all that. So I want to say thanks to Redhat. Scotty's talking about Troy. Oh, yeah. Yep. Yeah, so all kinds of stories come from these events, guys. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back Saturday morning again with a huge announcement. I'm not even going to get into it. And then Monday of Sick Week, we've got a huger, is that a word? Announcement that'll come that morning. So, all right, guys, thanks a bunch. Subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Bye.
Yep, bye.